We are live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of WrestleCast, where we will be breaking down everything that happened with WrestleMania, Raw after Mania, some news, and anything else kind of in between. I am your host, Dana, joined by Mr. Richard Bailey Jr. How are you doing, Mr. Real Final Boss?
I'm doing good, Dana. How are you doing? And I hope everybody is doing well.
And we also have with us Mr. Ricky Negron. How are you?
Hey Dana, hey everybody, I'm doing great. Yeah, I'm doing better than Cody right now. So yeah.
I feel bad for Triple H. But last but not least, we have Mr. Adam Vale. How are you doing, good sir?
I'm good. I'm excited. This is awesome. I can't wait to talk about all the crazy, sad news at WrestleMania. This was the butter show. The butter show. There was no other Mania better than this Mania. That's not true.
That is not true. Okay. So then I'm kind of like to just dive right on into it. WrestleMania Night 1. What are your overall thoughts? We had a lot of good matches. We had some meh matches. And we had a really great finale. Any thoughts?
Well, yeah, Rich, go first. Go.
Okay, let me start off by saying, yeah, the main event match, the triple threat match, that was fantastic. That probably was the match of the night for me. If I was to give a second match, maybe I would say Naomi and Jade Cargill. I'm liking where they're going with Jade Cargill.
That was a brutal match.
It was.
That was. I want to know who produced that, because how do you plan the way Jade caught? I don't know how she did it. How did she catch Naomi in that angle to catch, for her own version of a jackhammer? It was just, I don't know how many times they probably practiced that.
It definitely had to practice it, I think, a lot. And of course, since I mentioned the positive, let me also mention the negative. I did not like the New Day match, because that is a match that I felt could have been on Monday Night Raw. It didn't need to be at the pay-per-view, especially when they announced on the previous SmackDown show that the Street Profits are going to be in a triple threat TLC match with Johnny with DIY and Motor City Machine Guns. To me, that match should have been on the card, because clearly they have been doing more story building with those teams than with New Day and War Raiders. Now, obviously, New Day, if they were going to have that match, I was expecting Big E to somehow be involved, because that's the only way I could think about it justify it being on the card. There's a story there, but no, nothing. So
that had a gimmick.
Oh yeah,
gauntlet or something like that. It's like, oh, you really think you're that good? Then all right, we're gonna do a gauntlet match for tag teams. That would have been cool. Do something to spice it up. Yeah, like you said, it just felt very. Oh, this is just a typical match that we would normally see, and we've seen them go against each other numerous times. So.
Exactly.
Special.
But I will say this before we go to whoever's next. The War Raiders. I like the War Raiders. I didn't like that they got no reaction, but that was expected. But I will say, I do think these guys are going to be retiring soon. That can be another reason as to why they gave them this match on the card, because I know that they've had a lot of injury issues in the past. And they did mention before they won those titles in the storyline with Finn Balor and JD McDonough that they had injuries. They had a lot of injuries, and they may be their careers might be ending pretty soon. So I assume that's why they got this match. But with New Day, obviously they're still building New Day with this whole heel run. So not really a surprise. But overall, I would say Night 1, those were my highlights. I definitely want to hear what the rest of y'all think, because I heard a rumor that Ricky thought that Night 1 was absolutely phenomenal. So
he cried during the main event. He cried.
I mean, how could you not? I mean, the absolute betrayal. Who could have seen Paul Heyman betraying both of his clients. I mean, Paul Heyman's the most trustworthy guy, right? He's never.
Yeah.
He didn't betray CM Punk at Money in the Bank years back, or anything like that, right? Like, who could have seen that? It's just, I don't know, but I did think that main event for night one was excellent, and probably my favorite match, at least as far as like storytelling and what have you. You could argue that the match of the weekend was the very next one to open up the next night, which was the triple threat, where with Io Sky retaining against Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. I really wasn't sure for a while who was going to win that, and I consider that kind of luck that I chose Io, because it could have easily gone to either of the other two, specifically Bianca, but with her streak and what have you. And I thought it was interesting that she got pinned. They didn't protect her; they had her get pinned. So I'm very curious where that's going to go. So I mean, we had some good matches. Now, as far as what I didn't quite care for, I didn't care for AJ Styles and and Logan Paul being one of the longest matches of the weekend. I didn't think it needed to be that long. And frankly, like, that could have been one that was saved for SmackDown. But that is what it is. And and as my my header there is saying, I'm still waiting for Travis Scott to make his way down the aisle. Like, I don't know if he was doing the tribute to The Undertaker or something, because my goodness, I was just like, come on, man, we've got a show. It was ridiculous. That whole thing just took me completely out, and like, we can go into all of that. I'm sure we'll go into all of that later, as far as certain people missing.
Well, now you got me. I don't know why Travis Scott is even getting involved on this level. I don't want outside talent. I don't care how good they are, sports, music, disco dancing. I don't care. I don't want you getting involved in the main event of a wrestling program, especially like WrestleMania. To have him come down and to play a big part to help Cena, when The Rock, as we'll get to later, talking about, oh, I didn't want to get involved. I didn't want to distract from Cena and Cody. Well, then what's with Travis Scott being here? Why did he have to get involved? Because he really cost all of it, getting into the ring and doing all that, trying to slap Cody. Cody gets his receipt, giving him crossroads. And then it's like, I guess Travis forgot what he was supposed to do next, because Cody was kicking him like, yo, get out of the ring. And just like kept kicking him. Like, just go. Do you know how to roll? Maybe you didn't learn it in a performance center yet. Roll. But that was, that upset me. That was upsetting.
I mean, that's the beauty of all of that. You say that you don't know what they were doing with Travis Scott. The beauty of it is that none of them did either. Not a single one of them knew what the hell they were doing.
Don't need them. Don't need it. Not on this level. You start them off slowly, get them into some other stuff. Don't put them in the main. Because is he ready to do a full match? Can Cody start a feud with him? No. He can't do that. He's not. I mean, Logan Paul is... I mean, for the longest time, people always said, who picked up the business the quickest? Kurt Angle, right? It's like, oh, Kurt Angle, in like 9 months, he was a natural. Well, I think that Logan Paul has surpassed him. The stuff that he's doing in the ring, for the amount of time that he's been doing it, shouldn't be possible. I mean, he's already surpassed people that grew up in the business. Look at even Dom. Dom, he's coming to his own now, and he's really good at taking bumps. Remember, for the first few years, he looked green. Like, we were like, man, you're lucky Ray's your dad. Because if Ray was not your dad, you would be going down to NXT. So I just, it upsets me so much that they had Travis Scott involved in this. I don't want to see that, or anybody on that level, unless they can perform at that level to get involved. And it's justified. That was not justified at all.
I completely agree, and we'll get to night 2. But I just wanted to say I didn't have a problem with Travis Scott at first, until he ended up being the only person there, and it made no sense to me. I always thought he was playing the role of Dennis Rodman from Bash at the Beach. And I thought that was a well-oiled plan, that they was doing, because Triple H and The Rock said it was years in the making. And we'll get to that and his lies. But yeah, for me, I think for me personally, just watching it, I love the Jade versus Naomi match. That was something that to me, felt like they actually had a storyline. Now, if they say they made that up, with the last second, I'll be heartbroken too. But I felt that was the strongest storyline that they had. And I really, really wanted to see what was happening. And I love the trajectory of Naomi finally getting her spotlight. And the match was really good between her and Jade Cargill. And I still say that Naomi was right no matter what. Even though she lost, I understand her losing, but this still can create something more down the line. We have Evolution 2 coming up, and we also have SummerSlam and then his Backlash. So I had no problem with that. I thought overall the match was okay. And the show itself was okay until you get into the main event where we saw the whole Paul Heyman situationship of it all, and him being the actual villain of it. So, I guess we'll just kind of to start at the first card. We had Jey Uso. He's now the new champion. He defeated Gunther. I see you shaking your head. You're
and it's not angry. I'm not Uso. Yeah, they won. No, I'm not into all that. I respect the man. He's done a lot. I get it. But they should have built it up where at least he had some wins over Gunther or something, or come close. The guy was like 0-4, something like that. So it just put all this of like, well, he has to win, right? Because if not, then it's like popping a balloon. So it just gave it all away. So we were just waiting for like, at what point is he going to win? Is someone going to help him? Is his brother going to interfere and help him? At least it was a clean win. But it's just the way they set this up. They should have did a better job. Maybe have it make this like a rubber band type match. They could have easily had where Gunther says, you know what? Remember all those times that he was trying to compete with the title? So you know what? You earn the title. How about this? We'll have a regular one-on-one. If you could beat me, then I'll give you a title match. Then that would have made sense because then he could always say, hey, I beat you once. Yeah, but I didn't put the title on the line. Now I'm going to come full force. We've seen them do the full force with the multiple power bombs and pinning and just humiliating Jey. So that's why I was like, once we saw this happen and the way the crowd reacts and the merch just flying out, selling out all the stands, like they're going to put it on him. They're going to put it on him. Triple H said it, he makes a lot of money. He's a mover. He's a meter mover. I mean, once you start saying all that, you're giving it away before the match even starts. We already know.
And let me just make one comment because I understand we can't be too critical because according to Triple H, all these people talking about wrestling are not too intelligent. So I wanted to make that comment first. But let me just there you go. Yeah. So let me make this comment. So I like you said, Adam. I agree that it was very predictable. We knew Jey would win. I will say this though, and I know that they told the storyline of Gunther choking out Jimmy. I thought it was a very interesting decision to have Gunther tap out though, because it makes me wonder obviously they told you that Gunther is a badass, the way he holds himself, he is the ring general. So for him to tap out in this way, and then we'll get into what happened on Raw later, I thought that's a very interesting decision. I'm wondering, how do you repair the character and make him intimidating after this? Because I don't think he's intimidating anymore. That's just my opinion. But I expected Jey to win. And like I said, we'll get into this later. Even though I did not necessarily like the fact that was a match at WrestleMania, I am very interested in where they are going with Jey Uso's future opponent based off of what happened on Raw last night. So that, I think, is going to be a much better storyline and more interesting, but we'll get into that later. Yeah. So,
what about
Ricky
you,
O'Dana.
Mr. Richard? Not Richard, Ricardo? We'll just call you Ricky.
Ricky's fine. I mean, you're talking about Gunther not being intimidating anymore because he tapped out, and like pretty quickly, he tapped out pretty quickly to Jey, which is like, oh, what is that? But the thing is that they decided the way that they were going to respond to that is having him beat the crap out of the commentators on Raw, and that's supposed to make him, scary again or whatever. Heads up. Heads up. Hats off to Gunther for taking out Pat McAfee, man. Great job.
Well, I think Pat, this is a way to write him off because Pat has all these other projects. Doesn't he leave like half the year to go do some football college show or something on ESPN?
Oh, yeah, he does college. Yeah, it's college.
Yeah, so I figured maybe he's leaving to do something else, and this was a way to write him off. Unless he's setting up for a match. I don't know anybody that wants to see that, but who knows?
Yeah, I seem to remember like a couple of years ago that like around the beginning of the year, like before WrestleMania, like maybe even January, they're like, okay, Pat's off on assignment for something, and they had someone else come in on commentary.
Corey Graves.
Yeah, Corey Graves. There's a blast from the past right there.
Yeah, and he's a NXT sometimes. So,
and speaking of that, I don't want to interrupt, but Ricky, was it you that sent when we were talking yesterday? In the chat when this happened, Corey Graves was laughing. He had a laughing emojis on Twitter when this happened. So yes, clearly, yeah, because I will say this. When I I did go to an NXT show here in Atlanta, and this was shortly after the controversy of Corey Graves not being on the show, and he came back to that show. He got a standing ovation from that audience, and he was very happy to receive that. So I thought very interesting.
He's a good commentator. He's a very well-spoken, good commentator. So I get his frustration. It makes perfect sense because he had that role that during the color, everything was fine. And then Pat comes in, and because he's a bigger name and outside of the industry, he gets the spot full time.
Yeah, I agree. But one last thing I was going to say, then I guess Ricky could finish up, and then Dana. To go to Ricky's point about Pat McAfee, the only issue I have is, and I mentioned this last night, I think if they wanted to sell that Pat McAfee was really hurt by Gunther, I just wanted them to outright have Gunther perform the choke out and then go to commercial, have him taken off somewhere. Don't show him. They wasted so much time of him getting up, recovering, and then leaving, which tells me that it wasn't really effective. And then today on his show, he's interviewing The Rock. It's like, I understand that, but to be sold that this was an effective attack, it would have been made sense to say, okay, he can't be on the show today, or he can't. I think they should have took it a step further, but they're not going to do all that.
Well, look at Michael Cole. Michael Cole was selling it for the rest of the night. He was talking, my throat. He was making sure to sell it all night long. But you know what? You're right. To make Ricky, it made him look weak. If anything, what they could have done is like just have him pass out the Steve Austin way, right?
Yeah.
All the big matches that Steve Austin lost, over passing out or something happened like that, he just wouldn't give up. Hell, the match that he got nominated or that he won that Hall of Fame, him and Bret Hart, he didn't tap. He just passed out. They could have done the same thing. Just have him choke, and then the ref lifts up the arm, and it's like he's out. So then it's still open. It's like, yeah, you beat me, but I refuse to tap. Okay, he's still strong, but he lost. But no.
Wouldn't that be too repetitive? Because they'd had that with CM Punk and John Cena.
They do roll-ups and cheesy shit all the time. It's like, oh, roll-up pin, schoolboy, woo. I mean, they could do it just to keep him strong, or at least have something else that caused it. It's tapping out like that. That's going to stick with him throughout this whole thing, unless he starts squashing people. That's the only thing I can think of. You start feeding people to Gunther and everybody, like Sheamus, other former top guys. Sad to say that, but not really up there anymore. And it's like, all right, we're gonna put you in these matches. And they feuded before. Remember, they had some good matches, and then just feed him, and he just destroys all of them to work his way back up.
Yeah, Adam, you activated my John Moxley, Dean Ambrose PTSD, talking about the passing out from submission because Richard will know that he and I witnessed this match with Ambrose against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 32, and I had the expectation that Ambrose was going to lose by passing out, that Brock Lesnar was going to make him pass out, and that would be a way of making him look strong in defeat. But it was just a flat out squash, and it's one of the most disappointing matches I've ever seen at WrestleMania. And so, like, you can do so much good making someone look strong in defeat. In a submission, you have them pass out, or like if Gunther was going to tap out, it needed to be multiple attempts at it, not the first one within a few seconds. I don't know.
I'm blanking on it when Brock, because you got me thinking now with Brock when he went against Kofi, it was for the title, right? And wasn't it like 2 spears or something like that? Or
that was the first episode of SmackDown to happen on Fox for Fridays, 2019. The bell rang. Kofi jumped on him. F5 pinned within.
It was over. Yeah, you see, it's like
completely squashed in his entire.
That is he who should not be named booking. You know who booked that match. Yeah. So there you go.
Todd Ramirez. Yep, I'm glad that guy's gone.
So yep. Brock will be back though soon, I strongly believe, because they started acting very weird recently. But I wanted to say that unlike you guys who are not real fans, because you're just critics, I loved the match. I thought it was a lot of fun. And I understand that you may have wanted, Gunther to be stronger. And I think he came across really strong throughout this entire run-up until the match.
But they made him cowardly. Remember, he took the belt and was like, "Oh, I'm leaving. I'm not gonna finish." Bullshit. This is Mania. What do you mean? Why are they doing that to him?
There's no plan. I strongly believe there's no plan with this or him or anything else. And so it just doesn't make any sense. But the match itself, to me, was enjoyable.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I felt like they kind of gave what they should have given. Daniel Bryan. Remember how they went through that whole thing with Daniel Bryan winning? Yeah. And I think that it was like, we don't want to go through that again. So let's have Jey win. And everyone was happy.
No, it's fine to have him win. It's just the way he won. That's all. Like, that's what Ricky's saying too. It's like we wanted just more of just grit to make it seem like, man, this was really hard. Because once he got that choking, it was over. It's like, oh wow, he tapped. It wasn't even that long. At least try to fight out, or then maybe he gets out of it, and then he goes to grab Jey to do a powerbomb, lifts him up, and then Jey reverses it and catches into a rear naked choke. Do something, twist it up, make it look like he was working real hard all night for that neck. Like, that's it. I figured I'm just gonna choke him out. I can't overpower him, but I can choke that neck out. Whatever.
I don't think Jey has that ability.
All right, so here's a question for you, Dana. Who's gonna beat him for that belt? Because you know it's gonna happen. Who's taking the belt?
Who's gonna be Jey?
Yeah.
Oh God, I don't know. I was gonna, because Cody, that he wouldn't do that. I would say, I don't know. Is Randy Orton? Can he do that, or is that for another belt?
Now it looks like after what he did with Cena, I think he's gonna be feuding with Cena. So it's gonna be. I don't know why.
Aleister Black.
I would love that. I want Aleister Black win all the belts. I want to win all the belts. Walk out there like Ultimate Dragon. Remember when he had all those belts around? That's what I want. He's gonna have a tag belt, and he's not even gonna have a tag team. And it's been done before. We had Braun Strowman do it with a kid. Remember? I want the same thing. God. I want him just to have all these belts. He'll bring in Selena Vega, his wife. She'll walk down, carry some of them. Maybe put some in a little trolley thing in the back. They're like, yo, he's got the women's title. How did that happen? He just deserves everything. But when it comes to Jey, I really thought last night when when it was just talking raw, because that's all it was. It was just not talk. But when what's his name came out, Sami Zayn, and was doing all that kissing. Oh, you're so great. You're so great. You're so great. I was like, this is it. He's going to turn heel. He's gonna pull him off the top rope. Remember, he's like clapping, yay! I'm like, this is when you grab him, power bomb him, and I'm like, you don't deserve this. I deserve that. You know, that's what I was hoping for, but no, it never happened. So that was gonna be my prediction. I was like, oh, this is it. He's gonna be feuding. But
Cross.
Oh, that'll be interesting.
After that rant that he went through.
Oh yeah, that was an awesome promo, viral. It did go viral.
I feel bad for him. He's a great talker, and they put him in all these things, and it just never works out. But they have faith in him, or else he would have been gone just like Authors of Pain for the second time.
Oh yeah, and they're definitely gone, but they're still in WWE 2K25. So there you go.
That's good, and the things are still on my shelf. I won't take them down. I'm glad I bought them. People are like, oh, why'd you get them? Now they're gonna get. I'm like, nope, that's the only thing they got. They didn't make new ones. But who knows? But yeah, it's sad. He's good. He's good. But he said, I think in that promo that went viral, he was using Killer Cross. Right? But then
he closed out with Killer. He's saying this is from Killer Cross. He said, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's if it's like, oh, you know what? You can use that. Let's just scrap the carry-in. Let's go Killer Cross. And he's gonna use that TNA gimmick that he had. Maybe.
Yeah. That makes sense. Well, I have a prediction of that of who is going to beat Jey, but I'll get into that later because I'm gonna let Dana continue because I think she had a couple other things she wanted to get our opinions on.
No, that was for that one. That was mainly it. I liked the match. I was rooting for Jey. I feel sad for Gunther because now it's like they made him a child.
Yes.
And I don't know how they're gonna carry this unless they do have Karrion Kross. Or maybe someone else of that stature. I don't know yet who that would be. Because he needs someone to raise him up again. I just hope that it's not anything where they try to manage him. Yeah.
I'll throw a prediction that you will probably laugh at. Well, Ricky probably will laugh. It's simple. Trick Williams. Call him up to the main roster and have Gunther just destroy him.
No. No. Oh man, so you guys know they signed Jeff Cobb, right? That came out, right? Mm-hmm. And remember that was the Monster Matanza. You know, that was from Darius Cueto, Lucha Underground. Now, the thing is, there's a NXT now banging around Netflix. Does Netflix own any of that Lucha? Does anybody know? Because I know that it was Rodriguez who did Death Till Dawn and all that stuff. He owned the El Rey Network, and he started that promotion. And then 2 seasons of it are on Netflix. Then it didn't go anywhere. I'm just wondering because I would love that type of gimmick. You know, where if he comes out with the mask and looking all crazy, you know, they need a good character like that. We don't have that, like an Abyss, you know, or Mankind. And I'm just bringing it up because of, like you said, with Gunther, who else? And you need something scary, someone big, and someone new that's coming in that could do that would be Jeff Cobb. I don't think they would put Aleister Black in that situation. I think he's going to go on a rampage of his own, you know, as a thank you for coming back or whatever. You know, that's another one that Triple H liked, had a lot of plans for him, and Vince couldn't see it.
MGM owns Lucha.
MGM?
Oh,
yeah, which is at Amazon.
Okay.
Why are they not on Amazon Prime?
I don't know. Yeah, that's and at least you would think if MGM owns it, well, I guess it's expensive. That was the whole reason why it didn't do well. Because even though it was great, it was awesome action, it was just very expensive to have all that talent. And remember, they filmed everything within weeks. You know, it was all pre-recorded, all filmed, and it wasn't like what we see now, and it just didn't pan out. It was sad. It was a good show, though. They would kill people off. I loved it. If you guys, anybody watching this, have never seen it, go on Netflix and watch it. They killed wrestlers off. They had a voodoo doll that would talk. Remember, they were talking to John Morrison with Johnny Mundo. That was his name on there. You know, the Monster Matanza, when he would kill wrestlers in the ring, then they would just disappear. Like it was like the light would flash like lightning. Oh, it was wild. It was wild. Seeing Pentagon fight 3 women. He fought Io Sky. He beat Io Sky.
He was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to go back and watch that.
So then, kind of like moving on, then we have the World Tag Team Champs are now the New Day after defeating the War Raiders. Any thoughts on that match? Did they deserve that? There was kind of no build up to it.
Yeah. My thought is that should have been on Monday Night Raw, not WrestleMania. But I'm happy for the New Day. Obviously, I'm a Kofi fan. You know, both myself and Ricky. Ricky especially. He knows Kofi's dad. You know, this guy is from Massachusetts, so always glad to see him doing well. But that is a match that definitely should have been on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say that. It didn't feel like super important or whatever, and it's one of those things where I'm sure a lot of people thought, well, maybe Big E's gonna appear because why else would they put this on WrestleMania? And Big E never appeared. So that's a recurring theme with the WrestleMania is the ones that you are waiting, the big names you're waiting to appear don't show up. But the one positive of this is that the New Day hadn't won as a tag team at WrestleMania until this weekend. So that's the first time that they've done that.
So it was just checking something off their bucket list of like, oh, win a tag title at WrestleMania. It's like, all right. It needed a stipulation. It felt very basic. You know, like you said, Rich, they should have had it, whether it's a triple threat, 4-way, a ladder match, do something special. Make it stand out. Because it was like, if you just tune in, which most people just were watching, it's like, hey, well, we've seen these two teams fight before. What's really on the line? Just the title. That's it. Nothing crazy going on. And like you said, should have been a Big E involvement or something, but no surprises. And that's what people will look for in WrestleMania moments, right? Every match should either end a feud or have some surprise actions or something to spice it up to make it stand out. Because right now, on paper, or if you tell anybody, or if they even ask, it was like, "Oh, how was that match?" Well, yeah, it was all right. I mean, it was a typical match. Nothing crazy happened in it, and they won for like the umpteenth time. I don't know how many times they've had those titles, but they've had it for multiple times.
Like if they wanted to make that, I'm sorry. Before you go ahead, Dana. I was going to say,
No.
if they wanted to make that match memorable, make it a ladder match.
Yeah, do something.
They can't do that because that would overshadow the match that is going to obviously be better on Friday night. The Street Profits. But I agree. They definitely could have did something more. I agree 1,000%.
Yeah, you said that before. It was just very boring and bland and basic, and there was no one really cared about it either. I'm happy that they got the titles. So anyone else? Any other opinions? Anyone?
It shouldn't have been on the card. That's all. They should have did something else, spice it up. It brings back. I think it was the last pay-per-view. It was something with Triple H during the post I was watching, and he's talking about Mania, and he was like, this is where everything, the big story is all supposed to end here. But what if they were just the beginning here? What if everything just started here instead of just ending? I was like, what are you talking about? Then that'd be a regular show. We want to see, that because after this, right? Don't they restart the clock? Right? It's like, oh, a new season, and they do that whole BS. I was like, so yeah, you want old feuds to end so you can start new feuds. So I didn't like that comment because then it's like, oh, then you're just saying you can throw anything on this card. It no longer makes it feel special when we are all brainwashed already to think that every match at Mania is supposed to be a special match.
I've always been confused. Oh, go on.
Oh no, go ahead. I'm gonna go after you.
No, go.
I just was gonna say I know what they could have did to fix this, because this is me booking, all right? Because I am the real final boss. I would have had I would have saved that match for Raw last night, had New Day get the victory, and then right after they win that match, I would have had Fraxium come out and make their debut, because that's the team I expected to see last night. Since they lost at Stand and Deliver, and they obviously are going to get moved to the main roster, that would have made a lot more sense. But that's just my opinion. But continue.
You see, real quick, because before I forget, that would have been it. Right at the end, New Day win, right? They grab the
Mhm.
mic. You see, we've won. I don't know how many times. We're the best. No team's better
Yes.
than us. This and this. And then that team comes out and they're like, oh, so then let's do this right now. Prove it. And then they say, all right, you know what? Ring the bell. And then they have a match and then they get squashed. And there you go.
And see, what you said right now, and I promise this is the last thing because I'm going to go to Dana. That triggered me because that's the exact same thing happened last night. New Day, we're the best team. So when that happened, I'm thinking, okay, who was going to come out? And then we saw what happened. Then Rusev comes out. I'm glad Rusev is back, but I did not understand
Weird
why
timing.
he was in that particular spot. It didn't make any sense at all.
No.
But yeah, I got triggered when you said that, so I had to make a comment. I know I'm jumping ahead, but I wanted to make a comment on that. But continue. Go ahead, Dana.
No, that was perfectly great. I would do the whole thing with Rusev as well. See, I didn't understand why he came out either. I was expecting maybe an Aleister Black and it would be some weird tag team situationship. And then we could have gotten, hey, you're not the best at all. We're back. And then storm the ring. And I don't know, Adam Pearce come out and declare another match or something crazy on Monday. But we never even got that. He just kind of made an appearance. And I'm like, I'm happy for you, but why now? It just didn't make any sense. It's just always been weird. Yeah. So any other thoughts on that match? Nope. All right, so we're moving to the third title change of the night, which is Jacob Fatu, who is now the new United States champion, after defeating LA Knight. Yay! Richard, I see you clapping the most.
Yeah, Jacob Fatu is, a lot of people want to cheer for him. He is the absolute beast. He is the werewolf. So I was glad to see him win. I'm a little tired of LA Knight. Not so much tired of LA Knight. I just think that U.S. title, he needs to be going towards the other titles now because that U.S. title is like, he can go after the world title now. And of course, now that John Cena is the champion, that is an opponent for John Cena to have in the future as well.
Yeah, the Samoan werewolf. Do they have wolves in Samoa? I don't know. But he looks good. He looks legit. That's the thing with him. He has a look. He's always had that look. I remember and remember I was sending this around. I was putting on Twitter and all this stuff a few years back. He was going for the title. I think it was the MLW against Enzo, the real one. And that was the main event. And that's when I first saw him. I was like, oh, look at this dude. He's what's his deal? Isn't he a part of this whole family thing? And he is, but apparently because of his criminal record, Vince was like, said no. He's like, yeah, but that was when he was a teenager. He made some dumb choices. Nope, I don't need any of that stuff. And he just blew him off. But then I did get to see that match. And yeah, he's the same. He was much heavier. He's a bigger dude. He sort of had a wider look, but he was still agile, doing all the craziness. I was like, man, if only they could look past his past. And thankfully, Triple H could look past that. In fact, they even brought it up multiple times. Michael Cole told him about it during this match. He would bring it up. He had a hard past. He served time in prison, and legit time, but he put himself on the right path. And I see that. There you go. Tell the story. And now everybody knows. So I'm glad it's working out for him. That's a real success story because the guy was out there in the indies for a long time doing stuff, had the look, had the move set, had everything, but just wasn't getting that chance. And now that he has a chance, he's moonsaulting all over the place, and he's doing it. So I was glad with that.
Yeah, absolutely, very talented, and like he's kind of, I felt like what they were hoping Solo was going to be, like this very legit enforcer type. Like I don't know, with Solo, it's like, he's trying. Solo's trying. There's just something missing with him. I feel
his presence. He doesn't have that presence.
Right.
The Jacob Fatu, you just look at him, you're like, all right, this looks crazy. Like you just stare at him. He didn't even have to say anything. It's just Solo. He's solo. He's by himself, and it doesn't take off. He doesn't give that vision, that view.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree that like with Jacob Fatu, that he's just kind of like he has that charisma. They say, he definitely looks like he's been through some shit, like
yeah.
those scary eyes and everything. But he's so impressive, like in the ring. He's impressive on the mic, and it's like I'm a fan of LA Knight, but I also think that this was absolutely the right time and the right move to put a mid card title on Jacob Fatu and see what he does with it. I had thought that prior to the events that occurred at the last WrestleMania, that Solo should have had a mid card title run before they entertained this idea of having a coup d'état of the bloodline and having Solo try to.
It wasn't even on the card. Isn't that sad? You go from being on the card, being a top guy, to like poof, gone.
Yeah, it's kind of sad how far he's fallen, but it's not for a lack of opportunities, though. I mean, he's had opportunities to step up and shine, and it just hasn't happened. Whereas Jacob Fatu, from the moment he came in through the door, it's like, whoa, this guy, like, and to your point from earlier, like, commentary was selling it like this guy is so dangerous. The family had nothing to do with them. They could not bring him in. They could not control him. So they sold that as like, this is a dangerous guy. And it made him really, really fascinating in that regard. So, yeah.
And he's wearing gold fronts, right? You saw that? He's like, my son noticed it. Does he have gold teeth? Why does he have gold teeth? I'm like, unless it's for dental reasons, he's wearing gold fronts while he's wrestling. So, right, bring that back.
Well, isn't Jey also doing that as well?
Yeah, I know Jade
and Trinity.
Oh, see, that's the thing. Maybe I should get some gold fronts. Remember when everybody had gold fronts? Well, maybe not everybody, but I think I'm gonna go get me some gold fronts. Put my name sketched across the top.
They call those what, grills?
Yeah, get a whole grill.
You said grills?
All right, that's
grilling. I always liked Jacob Fatu. He reminded me of Eddie Kingston a little bit in terms of that madness and that kind of aggression that they both have. I think that this was absolutely the right call. My only thing is I kind of feel sad for LA Knight because I don't know where he goes next. And he has always been someone that's kind of been drifted around. Has always been told that promise of, next time. Now what is going to happen to him?
But he's lucky because he's over with the crowd. Like, that's the thing. I think that's why they do it, and that's why he's cool with it, because he sells merch. The crowd always backs him, win or lose, right? They're still like, yeah, they're doing all that. So as long as he's got the people behind him, he's okay.
I have a prediction for you, Dana. This is a spoiler, by the way. I think LA Knight is going to get moved to Monday Night Raw. Now you will have somebody to face Seth Rollins, Bron Breakker, and Gunther, because just move him to a different show. And maybe Gunther gets sent to SmackDown as the punishment for his choking out or failed chokeout attempt of Pat McAfee. Yeah.
Because they have that. Send him to NXT. Send him to NXT. Be like, you're getting demoted, and it's a whole punishment thing, and he has to stay there for X amount
that makes
of
sense.
weeks.
I mean, whether it's NXT or SmackDown, I think because they really, really push that angle, like, it's not safe working here on Monday Night Raw, and they make it Adam Pearce can't control the show. So I feel like something has to happen with Gunther storyline wise. They didn't say nothing about you're going to get fined for choking out Pat McAfee, nothing. So if they do move him, that would make sense. Then he can try to establish himself on a different brand. But we'll see.
That is true. Any other thoughts on that match? Yeah? All right, then. So we are moving on to the greatest Americano that has ever lived. El Grande Americano versus Rey Fenix. It was originally Rey Mysterio. Just a regular match. What are your thoughts on the greatest Chad Gable gimmick to ever hit our screens?
Did you guys catch the fixing? All right, so remember they were saying from the Gulf of America, right? That's what they were saying. And then they changed it and they said, all right, Gulf of Mexico. Then in Mania, when they announced, they said that it was from Gulf of America. And Michael Cole did the correction. He's like, no, it's actually Gulf of Mexico, and this and this and that. It's and then I guess during the match, Pat maybe got something in the earpiece. He's like, I was just told, no, that's correct. It's Gulf of America. And Michael's like, okay, all right, well, whatever, So it's like they still haven't decided if they're gonna go all in, because that got a lot of heat, in the socials and stuff. That maybe they're going a little bit too far with this. And then the fact that they bought AAA and you got the former owners in the front row, it's like, and then here it is. You got this fake. I mean, no, granted, he's a great wrestler. We know Chad Gable, he's fantastic, but still with the gimmick and all this stuff, you're not really a luchador. And then you beat one of the best luchadors, in Rey Fenix, who was their former champ for a while too. It was kind of, I don't know. It reminded me of what something Vince would do to like rub it into the face of someone else. It's like hire somebody and then have them job, and that was like the top guy, that type of deal. It's like, oh look, now we got your guy, this and that. Now we bought the company, and now we have our own version of a luchador who's making fun of everything, and he's gonna win this match at Mania. But who knows? Maybe. All right, real quick. I just want to. I think, and you guys could bring this up with what you think with this one. I think the plan was for Rey to win, but since Rey got hurt, they were like, all right, we can't have Phoenix win this one because he just got here, and that's too big of a push. So maybe that's why they did it. All right, go ahead.
I don't know. I wouldn't see that as a big of a push, because if you look at the Penta's been pushed from day zero. And why not him being pushed? I mean, especially if you're having so many issues with that gimmick, then it would make sense for him to lose.
So do you think if it was Rey Mysterio in that match, he was still gonna win the Chad Gable? You think he still would have won?
Yeah, Richard?
I also think, Rey would have won, and he probably would have unmasked Chad Gable. But obviously they are going to let that happen a lot later, I guess. But I thought he was going to get unmasked. I believe we were talking. I was talking with our friend Jackie in the chat. I thought, this is what's going to happen in the match, and then that didn't happen. So very interesting.
Now that they have this whole AAA thing, when's that first that World Collide? What was that? June? They said it's like a few months.
June. Is it 17th or the 9th?
Next month.
The 7th. So the 7th, June.
Oh.
All right, so then I have a feeling he's still going to keep that mask on, because he'll be there at that event, because, as a luchador, I think they're going to pull that. I could see them doing that for the heat, just for the heat. They're like, we got to have him. He's got to do this. And he'll say, it's like, how could there be this big Worlds Collide luchador event and I'm not in it? It's like, oh, here we go.
Yeah. I talked with Dana about this on our last show, that I kind of like went back and forth on it, and ultimately went on to figure that it would be too soon for them to unmask Gable. So I felt that El Americano, Grande Americano was going to win, so they can put that off until a mask versus mask match, and then Rey would win that. The fact that they didn't put that stipulation in there, and they're making such a big deal about the fact that that Gable keeps trying to unmask people, that he keeps putting the metal thing into his mask and all that stuff. They're trying to make it a big deal when the reveal finally happens, that like, it's as we all thought it was Chad Gable.
He's got they're not even covering up the tattoo. It's like, come on now.
It's absurd, but like,
it's
like, here's the thing, like, it's kind of a fun gimmick, but also the timing of it's very, very, very and all that. And I'm conflicted on it, because I'm all for anything that's going to get Gable pushed. He's so talented, and I think he deserves a good singles push. I hope he's not getting too much heat for this gimmick, but I also understand why people are upset about it with good reason. So it's.
I wonder who came up with this. If it was his idea, or creative, or maybe Road Dogg. I could see something like this coming from Road Dogg.
Yeah, I could see that too, honestly.
Sad.
So it's a very complicated gimmick. I thought surface level, I thought it was hilarious. I thought we was making fun of certain situationships, but I am not of that descent. So I do understand them being very upset about that. And given kind of the erasure of what is currently trying to happen within this country, I understand them being extremely upset with this as well. So I think that kind of the best way is to get rid of this gimmick probably after Worlds Collide, when they have him unmasked and just let it die. Because there's really no positive about this. And as you've seen as a whole, WWE's PR, I don't know what has happened that week of WrestleMania, but it was the worst run I have ever seen. And so you add this as well, it's not making, anyone else happy about the situation. We're supporting alleged rapers and deviants and other things. So yeah, we got to just put it into this. But I do want to know who came up with that gimmick first. And I'm pretty sure they expected it to go much better than what it did.
The only way I could see them doing a swerve if they take the mask off, if they can, because the tattoo, they can always get another sketch print and stick it on somebody else just for that one match. And it's like, the body type. Maybe they have somebody already in mind or something. Because I think it would be a nice swerve if the person loses and they take it off and it's not him. Or you see Chad Gable walking up the ramp and it's like, wait a minute, then who? Sort of like the Doink situation. Remember, there was that whole thing where we didn't know who it was, and then at one point it was even Jerry the King Lawler, and he was Doink. So throw some surprises. I don't know. I feel like they need a surprise if they want to keep this gimmick going. But yeah, if not, Worlds Collide, you take it off. But then what happens to Chad? What happens? He learned the dark arts of Lucha Libre. Yeah. Remember? Then what? What did he do?
That's a great question. He's supposed to be pushing American Alpha, right? His faction. They've kind of forgotten about that. The
American Made, they're called now.
Yeah, there it is. American Made. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I forgot.
Dude, they should have been in that match. That should have been a three-way match. American Made. Viking,
they said nah.
War Raiders.
They said no. They said nah. Forget about that. They're not important for this event.
Jesus, terrible, Lord. All right, then. Moving on to the women's championship match, the greatest match to ever exist. That is Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair and her face. Any thoughts on that match?
This is it. We're done. No more. I think. And I was telling Rich, we were talking about this earlier because you guys probably saw it, that video package during. I can't believe they did a 3-hour pre-show for Mania. That was nuts, too long. Every time I tuned, I couldn't figure out why it wasn't starting because my phone kept alarming. It's like, oh, it's live now. It's live. And I'm like, oh, let's go Peacock, and it's just yapping in 3 hours, really. But anyway, the point is, they were talking to Charlotte, and I don't know if they did this before or shortly after the Rumble, but she was getting all emotional, talking about how hard her rehab was going when she got hurt, and that this was putting a strain on her marriage, and the marriage was falling apart. And all she kept thinking about was getting back to what she loves doing, which is wrestling in front of the fans and doing that whole thing. It's like, okay, that's great, sad story. But she got booed instantly. You know what I mean? It's like nobody wanted this, especially against Tiffany. And I feel it's tough for her because I think she really did want to come back as a babyface. And I don't know why they thought it was going to naturally happen, especially against Tiffany, because she just turned babyface when she got the belt. Remember, cashing in against Nia Jax, doing that whole thing. So what? Babyface versus babyface? That never really works. People always pick one. And it just happened he picked the new one, the young one, Tiffany. So I didn't think I'll just get to it. I didn't think Charlotte was going to even win this. I didn't think she was going to close. No. I figured Tiffany's going to win it. She's new. She's young. She just came up not too long ago from NXT. They got the rocket on her. People like her. Remember, they were talking about all the videos, her socials, or her matches. The bumps, the viewerships go up, whether it's whatever reason, people just like seeing her. She's a good performer. So, and I knew that this was going to be the outcome. I could not see them. If it was Vince in charge, then Charlotte would have won in the first minute, just to humble, because remember, that's how he liked to do things. He's like to humble people. But that's not how Triple H does it. So
Richard, I see you.
So let me just say this. And this is going to be a bit controversial. I knew Tiffany Stratton would win. I'm glad that she won. I personally think that I don't know how long. I can't give you a definitive timeline. I think we are winding down to Charlotte being a part of this company. And I say that because when you look at all of the women that they have coming up in NXT, a lot of them are going to be stars. Whenever they get to that main roster, I kind of feel like they're going to want to focus more on what they are doing. And then you got Stephanie also coming in here. You have Julia, and they was on Raw last night. Got a pretty good reaction from the crowd. You have, of course, Roxanne Perez as well. I just feel like they have a lot of the people that are coming up right now that they're going to have to start to focus on more than Charlotte and Becky, who we will get into later. But obviously, Charlotte, she'll probably have maybe another year or two, I guess, where they can focus on her. But I definitely think her time is winding down. That's just my opinion, because there's too many other women that are coming up that they want to focus on them. In NXT, the NXT roster specifically is significantly has a lot of talent over there. So, but again, we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't think that Charlotte is going to outright quit or anything like that. I feel like they'll still have her there to help get over the other talent, but I kind of feel like I think maybe 2 years max, if I had to make a guess. That's just my opinion.
It sounds like that whole Bayley situation when she came out and did that interview. That's what it sounds like. So you're saying that she's going to follow that path, where it's like, you know what? I see all the young people coming in, and I've done everything there is to do. And I think if Bayley if Bayley was to leave, I don't think it would be to do wrestling somewhere else. I think she would just get into whatever else she likes to do. But Charlotte, I think she would stay. I think even if she doesn't wrestle, I could see her being like a manager. She's very good on the mic. I could see her doing that, or maybe just a trainer. But it takes a lot, as we've all seen, for wrestlers to just hang up their boots. They don't like doing it. So I don't know. I don't see her or Bayley just walking away.
They can still be mentors to the talent. And again, like I said, I could be wrong. This is just my opinion, because I'm looking at a lot of the talent that's coming up, and I'm like, if they're having issues trying to figure out who to give people spots to at this point in time, what is going to happen when you have Stephanie and Julia on the main roster? You have a Roxanne Perez. All of these people you would think deserve a WrestleMania spot. So I definitely want to see who are the people that are not going to get that opportunity.
Triple H he answered this question for you. More belts.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, more belts. Remember, he made the Intercontinental belts and all the other belts. That's the Tony Khan way. That's the Tony Khan. There's like 46 something belts in AEW. There's a belt for everything. And you know what? Maybe they should do that. Maybe they should follow the way UFC does it. Weight class. There's belts for different weight classes. There you go. If they really want to get there, and just have a belt for every weight class, and then you don't ever have that issue.
Well, I want to make one recommendation. Then I'm going to go to Dana, because I definitely want to hear what Dana has to say. More belts, that's fine. But those belts should be defended at WrestleMania. Like Lyra, who is a champion, they had her in a tag match. And then you didn't even have Chelsea Green, who is the U.S. champion. She didn't even have a match on the card as well. So I feel like if you're introducing these belts, I don't know. Maybe they should be at WrestleMania. That's just my opinion.
Did they shorten WrestleMania? Wasn't it like 4 hours or 5 hours before? This was short. Maybe that's it. Extended. Bring it back so everybody gets some TV time and get some.
You're talking about night 1 and 2. I think, what is it? 4 hours a night, right? Like, so it was 8 hours total, I think. I mean, I don't know.
It's like 4.5 hours, I think.
Okay, 4.5 hours. Oh no, I mean just for WrestleMania, not all the other stuff with the pre-show and all the other stuff. The actual wrestling, I think it was 4.5 or something.
Yeah, started like at 7 Eastern and wrapped up like around 11:30. So that's like 4.5 hours. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Dana, the floor is yours. I definitely want to hear what you have to say about Charlotte.
So first of all, with you, Richard, I want you to have that same energy towards the men, because there are men that are there that's been there for over 20-something years. And they are not winding down. And they have nothing really for them. So why does Charlotte have to start going because there's younger talent
Rich,
coming
why are you
in?
throwing the shade?
Yeah,
I was going to
Rich.
say AJ Styles.
Well,
Shoot, he was main eventing. That guy's like 74 years old. You know, he's got a WrestleMania match. He's still killing
guess what? I agree 1,000% with what you said, Dana. AJ Styles, this might be his second to last WrestleMania. You know, that's very likely, and I'll be okay with that. John Cena, I'm glad he's retiring so that they can focus on other people. And at some point, Randy Orton as well will have to go too. So yeah, no, I agree. This is universal. At some point they have to transition to the future and give other people a shot. But no, Charlotte can do this as long as she wants. But I will say this, because Adam made the comment earlier about Bayley. I understand there are people, I think Bayley saying that she doesn't feel that she's at the same level as Becky and Charlotte. That is because WWE for some reason values them higher. I think Bayley should be on the same level because they were a part of the Four Horsemen with Sasha. So I don't, it's unfortunate that she doesn't think that but that is because of how they pushed Charlotte so much, how they pushed Becky so much. And that's unfortunate because I think all of them deserve to be at the very top.
She's gonna push. She won the Rumble. She's been given factions, the leader role of these factions, the damage control and stuff. I think they care about her. But again, if we're talking on Triple H's idea of things, it's all about box office, right? It's all about money and merch sales. He said it straight out. That's pretty much why Jey Uso got what he got, because the people put him in that spot. So maybe her merch sales aren't up there. We know Becky's stuff sells off. I don't know how well the Flair stuff goes, maybe just because all the woo and stuff. I don't know. But that's the only thing I could think of, because she's great on the mic, right? She's great in the ring. She has a fan base. People want to see her perform. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'll get into that later when Dana gets to the tag match. But Dana, no, continue, because you had
that
other
was
points
completely disrespectful, because in terms of what Bayley was going through, they kicked her out of the match so that Becky could come in, and she was extremely hurt by that. She said, "Oh, I understand," but to do that served absolutely no point, especially when you go on Monday to have her then turn on Lyra. That was the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
I think they're just going to have her heel, right? You don't think that they're going to have Becky come out and say, yeah, I'm the one that took out Bayley, and just to build that heat. That's what I thought.
But there was no reason for her to...
Yeah, no, I know. No, but Dana, I do agree. It didn't make any kind of sense. Because and then I saw they came out with the BS, all this BS, like, oh yeah, this was planned some time ago. It doesn't make any sense to make the plan for Bayley to all of a sudden the weekend of the event, now we're going to take her out of the match. So no, this is something where they decided we need another surprise for Mania. So, and Becky is back, so we're going to take you out of this match and put Becky in there instead. And I will say this, obviously Becky has a history with Lyra. So I understand they were going to eventually go in the path of having, the student be, student versus the teacher, because that's what they're going in. But I definitely don't think that they should have did this the way they handled it here, because Bayley deserved that spot. Because even, like I said, I mentioned earlier, I went to the NXT event in the Raw here. By the way, that was the same Raw where Jey Uso had that massive celebration where there was no promo. And by the way, Dana, I heard she enjoyed that. So, I will say, yeah, I know you enjoyed that, seeing that on Raw Live. I was very annoyed seeing everybody up and down like this, ridiculous. But let me just say this. Bayley was on that show. She was on NXT. She has been working all of these shows leading up to Mania, including the NXT pay-per-view. So it's kind of ridiculous that they wouldn't have her at WrestleMania. That's why I said I didn't like that at all. That was a bad decision, I would say, for them to do that. And then I saw Triple H did acknowledge that in his press conference and saying, Bayley, yes, just a great professional. It's like,
she's a company man, like company lady. She does what's best for business. That's pretty much what it. And this is what they would have been saying about Cody if they would have had that Rock versus Roman. Remember that whole thing? It would have been the same thing. It would have been like, oh well, Cody's a team player. He's a team player. He knew what. So we love Cody. Cody, everybody loves Cody, right? Let's sing his song. Put it on now. Let's sing it.
Well, it goes back to what Karrion Kross said earlier in his little shoot promo, which is basically like when he asked Goldberg for some advice, and Goldberg told him just be a good soldier, and Kross said, well, being a good soldier means your time gets cut, and that's what happened with Bayley. She was a good soldier and reliable hand and everything. And it's like your reward is you're gonna sit out this Mania last minute, and we know that you'll take it like a pro. And it's like, they did her dirty there.
They did her very dirty. It had absolutely no reason. And I think in a year and a half, she might actually be the one that's gone.
No.
Instead of Charlotte. Yes. There's nothing for her else to do.
Where's she gonna go? She's not gonna go to AEW. There's nothing
AEW.
there.
What?
For what?
Yeah,
To do what?
No,
her
Sasha. She wants to reunite
her
with
best
Sasha.
friend. Yeah, her best friend.
That's not gonna work.
And they had one good show. So.
I mean, we saw the same thing with Edge. Oh, I want to go there, and Christian, and look how that turned out.
Edge is happy though.
Is he? Is he happy? I don't think so.
He's happy.
He just took another hiatus. He's not happy. He's regretting.
They call him Cope now. It's like, he's Edge. He's Edge.
Yeah, no. I get it, what he wanted to do, and I get what AEW was trying to do. And at first, they were doing it, but then they lost their way. And I think it was really just Tony Khan just saying, hey, you know what? I'm a super fan, and I want to start booking. You know what? I'm a good fan, too. I love it before my whole life. I don't want to be a booker. I don't want to have to deal with all the headaches. So he should have just hired some pros and be like, all right, listen, you guys are retired pros, not active, because then you got your own issues there. And then just try to figure things out. That's pretty much what WWE did, right? They got Michael Hayes, and they got a bunch of other former guys that are Brother Love and all that. So they do it.
That is very true. And WrestleMania was a disaster. But so then moving on to the final match of WrestleMania Night 1 has to be the triple threat match. This is Seth Rollins, who won with the help of Paul Heyman. He defeated Roman Reigns and CM Punk, and everyone looked like sad little boys by the end of the match. Thoughts on the biggest match of that night? The biggest surprise? Anyone?
Let me just say this. If I was booking, and this is going to be a bit controversial as well, all right? If I was the one that was booking these shows, if they asked me, so how would you like to do these WrestleMania matchups, the matchup order? I would have taken this main event and made this the main event on night 2 and made the John Cena and Cody match the main event on this show. Because then it would have made sense. Because it feels to me like this definitely was the best match of the night. There's a couple other matches I mentioned that were pretty good, but this match, it was great. The storytelling. And then I laughed, and Ricky knows what I'm going to talk about. The whole scene where they had the spot where, Seth Rollins like, hey, let's put CM Punk through the table. And then Roman Reigns is like getting ready to do it. And then he just punches Seth, and then he powerbombs CM Punk through a table. And then Seth, that was a fantastic sequence, highly entertaining. And again, like I said, the storytelling of Paul Heyman turning, the way they did all that was fantastic. So they put a lot of time and effort into that. It was already a main event prior to that. They made it a main event. It was already felt like it was a main event match, but they really added more to it. So I have to give them props. That was fantastic.
I was really surprised that this was all Paul Heyman. Like, this is really all about him. It's like, really? Is he a trophy? Do you want him? He'll just double cross you like everybody else. So I didn't really understand that when that was the whole story going into it. It's like, oh yeah, you now owe me this for Seth. You now owe me a favor. All right, whatever. How about the favor is he just doesn't show up? There you go. And then he's not on anyone's side. But to do this, and I don't see how Seth could see this as a win, because how could he trust him? He can't. And now he is.
Well, now that you said that triggered something. And I'm sorry, I don't want to be cutting anybody off. And don't worry, we're going to get to Dana and Ricky. But let me just say this, because you made the comment, Adam. Why should Seth trust Paul Heyman? That is a phenomenal question, because I feel that Bron Breakker is the real person that is a Paul Heyman guy, and to serve as a playback to what Dana asked earlier, who is going to take that belt off of Jey? It's Bron Breakker. I don't think it's Seth Rollins. I think it's Bron Breakker because it just makes too much sense. Bron Breakker has the history with Jey when he was the Intercontinental title and Jey beat him for that title. Vice versa, they went back and forth. So I think ultimately that's who was going to end up doing it. But again, let's see what happens.
What happens to Seth then? Because it looks like the way, at least what we saw on Raw, Seth sees Breakker as the muscle of the group. You know, he was like, yeah, good. As if like that's his muscle to help him get the title back. So that's instant infighting right there. Because he was like, absolutely. No, I want to be champion. No, you can't be.
And eventually, like I said, they're going to make the storyline. It's going to be one of the very slow telling storylines. You know, Seth and Bron are on great terms. But ultimately, I think Paul Heyman, his guy is Bron Breakker. And at some point, Bron Breakker will turn on Seth. And then now Seth will be also left on the outside. Oh, I also got screwed over by Paul Heyman. Not just CM Punk and Roman Reigns, but I did as well. That is the long-term storytelling. It's not going to happen right away. But I think Bron Breakker he is the prize in that particular thing. I don't know if there's other people that are going to get added to that faction. But Bron Breakker is the guy I think they want you to focus on more than Seth Rollins. That's just my
Moxley
opinion.
Comes back and helps Seth. He's like, I'm here for you. I'm going to help you out. You need my help. And I brought the pizza cutter.
We'll see.
AEW invasion.
Ricky?
Yeah, I agree with that. Like long term, that Bron Breakker is going to be, the apple of Paul Heyman's eye, but it's not. He's not going to be the one to take the belt off of Jey Uso just yet. I think that's too soon. They might have Seth Rollins try to do that at some point.
Do you think Gunther gets title rematch? Do you think he gets a rematch?
He should.
That's what Backlash is for, isn't it?
That's usually what it's for, but they haven't announced it. And if they do this whole thing, they could easily suspend Gunther for X amount of time or something, and then he wouldn't be able to compete at Backlash.
Let me answer that question. Gunther will not be getting a rematch. Gunther will have a match with Pat McAfee. That will be his next match based on their storytelling of last night. Because he didn't go after Jey. And I will say, I thought it was hilarious that nobody came out after they saw Gunther doing this to the commentators, which is good. They shouldn't come out and say Pat McAfee, but that was hilarious. I have to say that no one came out. They said, no, we're not
and then we're still celebrating. They were still celebrating. They won. Yeah, they didn't have time to do it. Where's Rikishi? I wanted him to come out. They had the brother come out. Really?
You saw Haku come out when Jacob won. That was cool.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, and they said the announcer said, during Mania, they're like, "Oh, Rikishi's in the back. I'm sure he's a proud papa right now," and the whole thing's like, okay, well now it's Monday. Everyone's coming out. This is technically the celebration, right? So then why not have the dad come out? What's up with that?
I have a guess. I think the Triple H and WWE, they don't like when Rikishi kept making them comments online. Yeah, push my son Jey, all this other stuff. So
it's his boy.
Now that
he has
Jey
a right. Freedom of speech.
It's fine. Talking about the storytelling. Yeah, Jey is involved in this storyline with Rhea Ripley. Where are they going with this? He is the Yeet Man. So I think they said, okay, well, to shut you up, yes, Jey is going to get his push, but we don't want you coming out outside in any capacity. And maybe that's what they. You know what?
To. They never show. They always show the Hell in the Cell and all the craziness. They never show the fact that he took a bump off the top of that cell. Remember that when he took that fall onto the truck? That time when they had him climb up top and he fell backwards, that's a big man, heavy big man to take a bump like that. And they never show it. They never talk about it, never, as if it didn't happen. And that's a shame.
He did it for The Rock.
Yeah, remember that? Yeah, he did it for you.
But I wanted to go back real quick, since we're talking about that main event. I thought it was a very, Roman Reigns' entrance was very cool because you're able to see his whole, family lineage there on those screens. Yeah, I thought that was such a nice touch. Like, WWE, credit to them. They always deliver when it comes to like presentation for WrestleMania and things like that. So I thought that was a really, really awesome visual. But I've just kind of sum up my thoughts real quickly. I think that the obvious thing that they're going with is a Roman and Punk team up against Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker. That seems to be where that's going to go, at least in the kind of the immediate term.
Roman and Bron Breakker.
That doesn't seem bad at all.
What about Goldberg? Because Goldberg, he's got a match coming up.
Is it proof?
Wait a second.
Because do we actually believe what he says?
He says it. He said, and WWE said that they plan on doing something with him. I bet it'll be like a crown jewel or something like that.
Wait a second, Adam. That's it. That's going to be Gunther's next opponent. So now he'll be a credible person after he destroys Goldberg. There you go. There you go.
Do you think Goldberg wants to do the job in his last match? I don't think so. I think he wants to win it.
He needs to. Because if they actually have him going against Gunther after the storyline, the little interaction they had, that's it. I mean, they have to do something to elevate Gunther. So I don't know what they're going to do, but that'll be a very interesting decision if they have Goldberg defeat
that. And I don't know if you heard, but he's training with his son. So Gage is planning to get into the business. So maybe there's going to be some connection or do something where he helps out or does something like that. Or maybe he becomes a Paul Heyman guy. They want to, and it works out. I mean, I have all the faith in the world that they can make all these next generation kids superstars. I'm telling you, I'm saying it now. I didn't see it for Dom. I saw they tried it. I was like, yeah, I don't think it's going to work with him. He's so green. He didn't look natural in the ring. He always looked a little bit awkward. I was like, maybe if they send him to NXT, but no, they kept him on the main roster. Then they put him in Judgment Day. I'm like, I don't know if this is going to work. And then he found his own footing. And look at him now. Now he's definitely his own man. I'm sure his dad above, Eddie Guerrero, is looking down and be like, my boy is doing it. I don't care what anybody says. He looks so much like Eddie. Man, that is, if Eddie was alive, that would be a storyline right there. That would be a storyline. Look at Ray. I can see him looking at Ray. I'm like, yo, you did a good job raising my kid. And just walk away. I can see that. And he knows it too. That's why he let the hair grow. He's got the mustache with the handlebars in. It's awesome. He plays a fantastic character. I'm so glad
he came out in the car.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I definitely, but the point is they did it. They made it work with him. And I was like, you know what? They could do it with him. They could definitely do it with Goldberg's kid. So I have all the faith. Let them do it.
We'll see first.
And bring Hook. Bring Hook in. I want Hook in here. Hook needs to leave AEW. He needs to get into WWE. They'll know what to do with him. Because right now he's doing all those crazy matches and stuff. That's not helping him. He needs to be here. Especially with, he's a young guy, good-looking guy, got that look that the young audience likes, at least the girls and all that stuff. He would be selling merch like crazy.
I think he'd be a star in NXT.
What? Yeah. He'd kill it. It's like he gets lost in the shuffle in AEW because they only know one style of fighting. It's like, oh, we're going to do all these hardcore things. He doesn't need to do that.
Yeah, that's completely true. So for me, I thought the match was good. I liked the match. I liked everything that happened. Paul Heyman, it was really he was the one that everybody, the match was riding on, because we didn't know who he was going to pick, what was going to
He was a trophy. He was the belt.
And in a way, I'm kind of tired of the whole Seth CM Punk situation. I mean, we already seen that. I think the highlight for me was Elimination Chamber. You can't top, die, just die. And to have them fight again, it does get a bit exhausting after a while. So him, and then you had the whole John Cena of it all. Obviously, that is the big one. We was waiting for him to win, and we knew storyline wise what I thought previously until I learned that they all just threw this together at the last second was that desperation once again. I said John Cena. Am I mixing people?
No, you said CM Punk and Seth and Roman.
Oh, okay, Roman. Yes, sorry, Roman. Somehow I put John Cena in this. So Roman, you know, okay. Here's the thing that I did like about Roman and the storyline that I am sure that they made up because The Rock is a liar and said it was going on for 20 years when actually it went on yesterday was, remember the whole thing that Cody Rhodes said to Roman Reigns is, you will lose everything. You have nothing. And that actually came true. He has no wise men. He has no brothers. He's no longer head of the table. He's at the forgotten table. You know, he's basically in catering with Andrade. And so I did like that storyline. And, you know, we all knew that Paul Heyman is someone that you cannot trust. And they even went and they showed, hey, he screwed over Punk. He screwed over Roman before. He screwed over Brock Lesnar. It was. And the fact that they even brought up Brock, I think Brock is coming back. So there you go. That's who ends up facing Gunther. Is Brock again.
If they do that, they do that overseas. I can see that as a crown jewel thing because they're like, it's not here. It'll be fine. That audience, they're not going to boo them. They're not going to care about all that stuff. So I could see that.
The way the company is going, I don't think they care anymore.
No.
I mean, because you wouldn't have John Cena, who is very meticulous on what he says. Remember, it's all about his image. Go and say what he said. So they genuinely just do not care anymore. Even when they had the whole Paul Heyman, when he was doing all through WrestleMania week, he was like, I'm going to get everyone deported. And yes, it was joking and it was heel, but it was kind of like, oh, this is a little, you know what I mean? They're embracing who they are. So that's just my thing. I really feel like they're going to bring back Brock Lesnar. It's just a matter of time now. Because it really there's no repercussions.
I think they're just waiting for whatever. They just don't know. And I that whole case file, it sounds like he didn't really get involved. Yeah. So somebody texted him, but he didn't say anything back. He never met with her as far as I know. So I don't know.
Well, he was going to, but the storm came. Remember, it was the storm that prevented him from coming.
Yeah. So, he could have just said, I played it off. I didn't go. So still, nothing happened is the point. At least from what we know, they've never engaged. So he should be okay.
Well, here's a reminder. The Royal Rumble next year is in Saudi Arabia. So there you go. That's If there'll be some controversial stuff probably happening at that show, then that's probably the show.
If CM Punk comes, I'm gonna laugh.
He's not going. He's not going.
You sure? Because
he hates them. He hates that. Remember, that's why he didn't go to the last Saudi show. And even when he was in AEW, that's what he kept bitching about with WWE. He's like, oh, they're selling out and for all the stuff that the Saudis do. And it's like, he doesn't want to go. So
he complained about WrestleMania. And we also, he was on night 4 of Buy One, Get One.
But by the way, I want to make one last comment about that match. Since you mentioned CM Punk, that was a phenomenal video package for CM Punk that they showed before his entrance, where it showed from the younger CM Punk to now. That was a fantastic video package. I have to give them props on that. Yeah.
That was very true. The presentation was kind of okay. It's always been good.
Yeah, they got a team. They definitely have a team. And I shout out to Michael Cole for even giving a shout out to all the people behind the scenes. When he was, I think it was on Monday or maybe it was Mania. I forgot which one it was, where he was feeding off some facts of like records and stuff, and he name dropped the 2 people, I guess, that are also providing the stats in front of him, so that way he can rattle this off, because he doesn't know this off the top of his head. This is information coming in real time to him. And that's good because, they have all those. We've seen it before, the production and the people in the truck and stuff like that. There's a lot going on behind the scenes to put those packages, to do the replays, the multiple camera angles that they have. That 3D, what's that they were showing? Some 3D live event or something where it looked like a camera was perched up on a turnbuckle, and it was like an ultra wide screen, and all these people were watching it live at one of these viewing centers. Did you see that?
Yeah. That's where it's kind of like an immersive
Yeah,
experience thing, where like they make it as if like you're there.
that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know,
It's,
they
it's just
get
really
like
cool.
some little water things to squirt, so it's like spit coming at you or sweat. You know,
Yeah, Triple H's entrance. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. He sprays it, and I get sprayed in the face. It's like, oh, thank you.
Oh, God.
Oh, it smells like coffee. I guess he drank a little coffee.
Okay. All right. Sure. So, thoughts on Heyman siding with Seth? I thought was absolutely wonderful because Seth doesn't need him technically.
No.
So that is kind of why he would gravitate towards him. Everyone else needed him. I need you by my corner. You're my wise man. He doesn't need any of that. And I think, storyline wise, Paul Heyman is tired of being needed all the time. And so this is his version of being free and his free will to do whatever he wants. So I'm all for that, even though he almost died the next day on Monday.
Yeah. Well, speaking of free, do you think this is it for Roman then? Because remember, during the Hall of Fame last year, when he inducted Paul Heyman, he talked about, he's like, as long as I'm in this ring, I'll have the wise man by my side. And the day I don't is the day I'm not here. So,
Yeah.
well, he doesn't have him now. So is this for his exit? Is this his way of like disappearing for a while?
Yeah, I think this is him winding down now. He is getting older. And I'm pretty sure that he's tired as well. And he did say that he was going to cut back on his schedule of being there. I know Richard wants the women to leave so much.
Right? Yeah, he was like, get rid of all of them. Make a retirement division. WWE retired edition, starring Charlotte Flair, Bailey, Becky Lynch, Bubba Gump Shrimp.
I think everybody has their time. Roman Reigns, to go to the interview, he said maybe 1 or 2 more years, and then he wants to do something else that is less physical. So yeah, I think yes. He also, all of these people, their time is up. It will come up because again, what they were building in NXT, that's the future. A lot of those people are going to start getting moved up, and then it's going to be their time to shine. So.
As long as he doesn't do a sequel with Batista and the Lost Land. No. I mean, the movie had some cool special effects, but that story was like, I was like, what am I watching? That's what you would call like a straight to DVD back in the day. Remember? Now it's everything's streaming, so you can't say that, but that would have been like, yo, you're at Blockbuster. Like, what's this over here? A Batista movie? What is this? Oh man.
Yeah. So then I guess that would conclude our night 1 of WrestleMania. So then kind of moving on into night 2, we have Io Sky, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley for the Women's World title match, which Io, the Forgotten, has actually won. She retained, and Bianca lost her streak because, anti-DEI policies.
No, but it makes sense though. No, think about it, because Rhea took the pin, the last one against Io. So now it's Bianca's turn to take the pin. And also this legitimizes Io Sky, because there was always that, well, you won because she got help. Bianca helped you. Well, no, this time she legit won. And so this is officially her official win as a champion. So it's good. I'm glad for her. And nobody saw that coming, right? Everybody thought it was going to be Bianca or Rhea.
Oh no, I knew it wasn't going to be Rhea. I feel like it could have been Bianca, because of the streak. But I was very glad that it was Io. And by the way, that was a fantastic match to open the show. That was a phenomenal match.
That was a match of the night. I still think it's a match of the night. That was.
I agree 1,000%. Fantastic opener. And I will say, I was happy that Io won. I do still want to see. I still want to see Rhea and Bianca 1-on-1. Because clearly that is a match that I think will be quite interesting. So hopefully that happens in the future. But no, that was a fantastic triple threat, and no doubt about it, 100%.
How heavy is Bianca's hair? That it sounds heavy when she whips people with it. You can hear it. I'm like, man, that must feel. I mean, what do you? It's got to feel like a huge weight.
Oh, I was horrified for Liv when she got whipped at Elimination Chamber, man. Oh, you could hear that.
You see the welts. Nothing tops the Sasha Banks one. Remember that one? Right to the gut, and you just saw this big red right across her, as if like someone just hit her with a whip.
Yeah, that's practically what it is.
Yeah. See, that's a weapon.
That is true. I think there's has to be more than one mic in there.
Right? See, there you go. There has to be a mic because they're always loud.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones style. Like,
well, yeah, I'm glad Io won, and I kind of figured she would because the fact that like it felt that Rhea versus Bianca was built up so much that just having Io like inserted into it and winning the championship, it's like there has to be something more to it. And because otherwise, if Io wasn't meant to win, she had no reason to be in the match. So I feel that it accomplished a few things. One is that it gave Io legitimacy, and also congratulations. They did mention this, that she's the first Japanese wrestler to win at WrestleMania. You know, I was hoping that Asuka was going to do that, but you know, Io was the first to do it.
Shinsuke.
And, Shinsuke lost.
I know. I was hoping he's been there a long time too, and it's like
that was like one thing about that WrestleMania 2018 in New Orleans. They had two Japanese wrestlers win the Royal Rumble. They had Shinsuke and Asuka, and they both lost at WrestleMania. It's like, what the hell? You know, I still didn't agree with that booking there, but yeah, you know, I'm happy for Io that like you mentioned, like that kind of legitimizes her. You know, it's a win away from the damage control, and you know she didn't have any help. She did it all herself. And the thing is that now it's like, but I am still interested, as you guys are, to see the Rhea Bianca feud continue because they had something really cooking there. And I mean, I wonder what this means for Io as far as who will be her next challenger. But
so, Richie, I got a question for you. Do you think if Asuka wasn't hurt, that all this would have been her spot where Io is? You think this was all the plan for Asuka?
That's a great question. I have no idea. I will, however, say that I did expect Asuka to show up last night when Io got on that microphone. I figured, who was going to come out? So I was very surprised that it was Stephanie and not Asuka. And we know Asuka is cleared to return at some point. It's just a matter of whenever they decide to do that. But
they're trying to catch that stalker. That's what they're trying to do. Apparently, there's somebody out to get her. And
no, that's a serious situation. I can't laugh. I hope they do catch the stalker. That's just very paranoid to go through something like that. But yeah, hopefully she is able to return when everything is clear for that.
Because I was thinking about that, because I was like, if we're seeing this matchup would have just been a fatal 4-way. Because Asuka's, she's a top star. She would have had to be involved. And that's why I was wondering. I was like, maybe the only reason why Io Sky's in this position, not because of quality, she's a great performer, but she was always a great performer. She was already doing all those crazy off the top, remember, war game matches with the can on her head. She's nuts. So, but she was never really put in this situation. And then Asuka gets hurt, and it's like, all right, let's bump you up. Let's see if you can hang, and she can. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens once Asuka comes back. And what's Kairi Sane? What happened to Kairi Sane? She's hurt.
She was injured. I think she is almost cleared. They showed her on camera like recently when Io won, right? They showed her on camera backstage watching. Yeah.
I don't think they showed her like on the broadcast, but there was a picture. There was a video of it on social media.
Yeah, that's what it was. Mm-hmm.
And then did they show like all the way in the back corner Shinsuke eating like a burrito or something? Like, yo, what? Like, what about me? Like, it's every time they show images, it'll end up being like the Grudge. Remember that whole thing where the creepy girl was always somewhere in the background, and it's like Shinsuke somewhere in the background, like, but never really part of the show.
Shin's living his best life. He's already semi-retired anyway, so I don't think he cares.
Yes, but I care. I like Shinsuke.
They dropped the ball on him, but yet at the same time, not really, because he did so much.
Oh, he did a lot. He did a lot, and now he's got that new gimmick, though. I thought they were going to do something crazy with that, but really.
See, Richard, you can retire him instead of Charlotte. But then, kind of, I guess, moving on to the Sin City street fight match that had no street fight and no Sin City in there. It was just a match with things.
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre defeated Damian Priest. Thoughts on meh?
Slayer, Money Talks. Those dudes retired. They had a farewell tour. I saw them live with Tony and Manny many years ago. That was a great live show. But I did their farewell tour. They retired, and I thought that was it. But then you got King come out. That's the guitarist. He's also, like, from what I understand, like the leader of the band. And then they were announced that they're going to be doing a live show, and Damian Priest is going to be like their host, doing intros and stuff. So I was like, oh, for me, that was a highlight. I was like, oh, this is legit. That the whole band didn't come out, which threw me off, because I was like, oh, performing. But then again, Damian Priest is doing his own singing or talking in his intro. That's him. All bow down to me, and I'm still not crazy about it. But yeah, I agree, Dana. I missed the backlot brawl style. Remember when we had Goldust and Roddy Piper and the car getting hit by a car, which he really did get hit by a car. There was no stunt. He had to jump, or else he would have died. I thought they were going to do something like that, go into a casino, start off there, bang each other around, getting some coins or whatever, do something crazy, and then work their way to the ring. But nope, it was just a match with stuff around, like you said. Nope.
Yeah, I will add. Oh yeah, no, I'll add that. I thought the match was okay. Drew McIntyre is fantastic. I love how he just takes these selfies, like he took the selfie during the match. Fantastic. I really hope they're going to do something with this guy. Now that he is on SmackDown, but see, that's the challenging thing, because Cena's the champion. I don't know what they're going to do, because I assumed that that was going to be a feud for Cody at some point as champion, but I don't know what the plan is. But Drew McIntyre, fantastic. I thought it was a pretty good match, but yeah.
What do you mean do something? They're always doing. Look at it. He's always in all these big matches. He had that CM Punk match where he took some, ranks to the head. He's in matches. He just doesn't have a title. And I don't think he needs the title. But I always remember, what's his name? I call him Brother Love because I'm blanking on his name. What's his name? Come on. The guy who plays Brother Love. He's part of creative in the background. It's one of I'm sure somebody in the comments I'll bring this up because I'm blanking. But he has his own podcast. And one time he was talking about like belts, and his co-host was like, oh, what was the mindset behind putting the belt on somebody? He's like, you put the belt on a wrestler that you want to put a spotlight on. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're the best one to be the belt with the belt. It's just to put a spotlight. Maybe you have plans for this person, and you're like, you know what? I want everyone to focus. Well, that's great. But Drew, everyone's already focused. He's great on the mic. He's great in the ring. That's okay. He doesn't need the belt. And that's the thing. You don't need to put it on to people. Look, Roman Reigns, he's still a top guy. He doesn't need the belt. He's got his little follow and all that stuff. Doesn't matter. Seth Rollins, same thing. He doesn't need the belt. Cody doesn't need the belt. Cena needs the belt just because of the number and all that. And hell, they were even playing with that because I don't know if you heard on Monday, Randy Orton's only 3 title wins behind, and then he could overtake that. And he is a lot younger. We keep forgetting. It seems like he's been there forever, but he started like in his first title in like 21, 22, something like that. So he's been there a long time. So he could definitely break that if they decide to go down that road. He could definitely do it. So I don't know.
So that's a very good point, and I do want to go to Dana and Ricky, but let me ask you this question very quickly. To go to that statement that you said that he made. So does Jey Uso need the world title? Good, based off of what you just said. So Jey Uso needs the world title, right? Because the focus is on Jey too, right? So he
for the
needs
money.
The world title.
Yeah, because that was it. The focus is the money. He was making all that money. He's got all the people backing him. I'm sure they're gonna make a whole bunch. And I don't know about you guys. I was getting flooded with WWE shop emails. Like even today, I'm constantly at least 2 or 3 a day. They start showing me. So I don't even bother opening it anymore. But I'm sure there was a bunch for Cena and a bunch for Jey Uso, new shirt, merch, whatever.
Yeah, and I did hear a rumor that our very good friend Ricky here, he will be buying a Jey Uso shirt for everybody here on the podcast.
Nice. So, maybe he'll get the belt. I could see him getting his own belt, and it'll say Yeet on it, the Yeet title, and I could see it having like some crazy goggles or something. I don't know. I could see some silliness.
You saw the shirt he had. The shirt he had on the other day. The World Yeet. The Heavy Yeet champion. The Heavy Yeet. Yeah. So there you go.
he's a champ for another generation. That's all I'm saying. It's like I believe it. It's great. I'm glad people like it, and again, I'm fine with me. It's just I don't know. I don't see it just yet. Who knows?
See, that's a perfect explanation. He's a champ for another generation. Today's generation is much different than your generation or the generation before that. It is all about really quick sayings, something you can sell, merchandise. It's flashy. You get to do a little yeet, and that's it.
And I wish that was it. These people want to keep repeating the same line. I can understand if there's more lyrics. Maybe he needs to add more lyrics. It is so short, and they just keep looping it and looping it. And then I'm like, all right, that's just WWE pumping it. And you saw last night, one more time. These fools want to do it again and again. It's like 15 minutes.
It's the TikTok generation. It's a YouTube short.
The Zoomers. Yeah.
The Zoomers.
Yeah.
So there you go. This is why everything sucks.
So I want to jump in a couple things. One was the I love you. I just heard it.
Whoa, I just heard an echo.
Yeah, we heard it too. There's the echo.
Yeah, we heard it too. There's the echo.
There's an echo?
Well,
yep.
I just heard it twice. Yep. Oh, okay.
Testing 1, testing 2. All right, yeah. So I guess Dana had an echo.
Okay. All right. Let me continue this. All right.
What's his name?
It's Bruce Pritchard.
That's it. Bruce Pritchard. See, Brucey. There you go.
Bruce Pritchard. And oh my goodness, what were we talking about? Because we talked about Jey Uso and
Drew and Damian.
Yeah, Drew and Damian match.
Drew and Damian. Okay, yeah. I think I kind of agree that Drew. I thought like at first Drew like needed a belt because it's something that he deserved. He definitely built himself up to a main event status, and him winning the WWE title was a way of just kind of like proving that he has made it to the very, very top. And I worry that like he may never get fully back to that level. But he's still very entertaining, very charismatic, pretty much a complete package as far as a pro wrestler goes. And I thought it was the right move, have him win. I do like Damian Priest too, but I was a little disappointed that the match did not end up taking place outside the venue or even in the parking lot, anything like that. And I think like I brought up this idea to Dana that have like the APA, gambling on a table backstage and have them like fight on top of that or something. Like that would have incorporated the whole Vegas vibe there. There's a lot they could have done that they didn't do it. So it felt
there was no Vegas theme in this fight. It was just a regular match with no rules.
was just a no DQ
Yeah.
match.
That's what you call lazy storytelling. They just announce the match and then there's no thought put into the concept. But no, continue.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just like it could have been so much better, right? Especially considering that, like, the two had history with each other. If you think back to the previous WrestleMania, and everything. So I don't know. I'm hopeful for both guys going forward. Thought it was a decent match, all considered, but they could have done a lot more with it.
Completely agree. Am I still echoing?
No.
No? Okay.
Nope.
Yeah.
No.
I completely agree. It was a massive disappointment. You made this huge deal about being in Vegas and you don't utilize Vegas. You don't use it as the environment. And this street fight match, as you stated before, had some slot machines, some coins flying around. And it doesn't even have to be like a Caesar's Palace or whatever it is down there. I'm pretty sure Vegas itself has some small little rinky-dink casino where they could have rented out, for less money, made it all nice and pretty, and had the match in there. Instead, it was just a standard match with just, no DQ and here's some random weapons or something. There was no reason for that. And I think what makes it even sadder is because Drew and Damian had such great personalities that could have really shined in a specialty match. And yes, you got the screenshot, the Twitter of bored at work, which was the same. No, it was from last year was bored at work. And then this year he said still bored at work. And that was great. But that's just it. It wasn't any of that kind of shine or good thing that they even last year when they didn't even leave the arena. It was the fact that how, played on the psychology of the match, and that Drew is always concerned about someone else and he's not paying attention, which is how Damian Priest was able to get the belt the last time. He was so concerned about what CM Punk was going to do. Just his mere presence of being there irked him so much he can't focus. So overall, I kind of like the fact that Drew did win because he deserved that. He needed that. But it was just a meh, lackluster match that could have easily been on, Raw after Mania. And that would have just been it. Any other final thoughts on this match? No? Okie dokie. So then, kind of moving on from that, we then had what was the next match? The big match for the audience. This was Dominik Mysterio winning against Finn Balor, Penta, and Bron Breakker. Any thoughts on that match?
Can you guys remember when did the audience change? Because remember, he would get the loudest boos, right? And that was the thing. He was like, as soon as he comes out, loud. But lately, I would say, I don't know, past month, it's been loud cheers. And definitely during Mania when he came out. I don't know.
He had a match with Gunther during one of those Raws, and he actually got the crowd behind him in that. And I think that
was a turning point.
Yes,
because man, that reaction. Like at first, I was like, it's probably one of those one-off arenas or whatever, wherever you're. I remember Bizarro World for Toronto; they would always cheer for the heels and stuff. But man, when he came out, that place went nuts, and especially when he won, I'm sure he was even surprised because you could see it on his face. There's an image that was going around online. It's like a zoom in. You see his eyes all glassy, like he was crying, like he could not believe that they were really supporting him. They were cheering. I guess he was thinking he was going to steal the belt and they were going to boo like always. And he was just rubbing it, but they were cheering. And even when he ran back up the ramp, like, I don't think that was planned. When he ran back, he's like, what? I'm going to run back. I'm going to climb the top, raise the belt. And you could see the crowd, just everyone like, so happy for him. And it's great. I mean, he deserves it. He's definitely improved immensely over the years. But man, I was surprised that he went from the highest boos, the constant boos, to now the cheers.
I'm thinking that's kind of like I mentioned that his match with Gunther was kind of when fans started to like side with him and all that. But I mean, speaking for myself, like I found him to be a very entertaining heel. That like like he's so like absurd that like you want to boo him, and that's part of the fun of being there. Is like booing as loud as you can, having him picking up the mic and booing, and he's having to shout over everybody, and that's just causing them to boo even louder. Like he knew how to play into the crowd. Like it wasn't go away heat. It was just like okay, we'll play along. And I think it's like, and that's the thing. Like we didn't get that out of Raw. I thought it would have been cool, like if he went into the middle of the ring, during Raw, like have all of Judgment Day there, have him pick up the mic. They would have absolutely booed the hell out of him for fun. Like I think they still would have booed the hell out of him to drown out, because that's part of that, that experience. The same way like the fans will chant "You suck" to Kurt Angle's theme. At first it was done to like mess with him, and now it's just like, okay, this is just for fun. It feels like that's kind of what like Dom is in that role of like, we're gonna boo you, but we like seeing you out here now. You're entertaining. And so I actually expected that he was gonna get a loud pop if he won, because like maybe not too many people like were expecting him to do that, and like he was kind of the underdog out of the whole match. And but it's really cool to see that. I'm someone that was definitely a Dominik critic early on. Him being brought in too soon and everything, and him being a baby face with Ray. It seemed like it wasn't really clicking with the audience, and I thought like he had to turn heel. Like I wanted him to like join Seth Rollins, group when he was the Messiah, and they didn't do that. But eventually they did the whole thing with the Judgment Day, and it turned out to be the best thing for him, because he got out of his comfort zone, away from his dad, and he had to kind of like, he still had veterans there to kind of help him along the way, but he had to get out of his comfort zone a bit and find himself. And I think he did a great job of that. So, and credit to all the other guys in the match, Bron Breakker and Penta and Finn Balor, they all did their part. And, I thought it was either going to be Dom winning or Bron retaining. And I thought that this was the right time for Bron to give up the belt and have him protected by having someone else take the pin. And so I was like, well, Finn Balor's in the match, makes sense to have him do that. So I think that was the right call, and it was definitely it was fun to see that, and I was very happy. Like you could see the joy in him, winning the belt, like almost kind of in disbelief, and then like soaking up the crowd and running back in. That was just, like I said, that was pure joy. Like he ran past Finn Balor, who was staring, lasers into him. He ran past him and went back up and just like, yeah. And that was really cool. Sometimes wrestling can be really, really cool. And that was one of those times.
Yeah. When I grow up, I'm going to be a wrestler. I think that's what I'm do.
And what I will say is, I also thought it was a fantastic match. Bron Breakker's spot against Carlito, fantastic. And that's the reason why Bron Breakker, that was his highlight of the match for me, for him. But yeah, the way Dominik won, fantastic. It now builds the tension between him and Finn Balor, which continued on Raw when he had to defend that belt against, Penta. And once again, you had JD McDonough show up. So and then Finn Balor was surprised to see JD McDonough come out of nowhere. And so they are teasing the issues between Finn Balor and Dom. I do want to see where they go with that. But no, I thought the match was fantastic. And I think that the right person won the match. So
I thought JD was going to need surgery or something with his neck, but I guess not.
I don't know. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Avoid surgery takes a lot of issues. So.
That was great, I guess. I loved the match as well. I love the fact that he got cheered. He's come so far, but at the same time, I felt so sad for Finn. The rise and fall of Finn Balor should really be studied, because he's just a complete afterthought. He's just there. He exists. they have plans for Braun Breaker, as we saw. I don't think they have anything for Finn. And he's just more like a seat filler, a match filler.
But he
So I
likes
kind of
it.
feel
They
sorry.
talked to him. Remember, he signed a new contract. They asked him in an interview about like, oh, your career.
But
He's fine with it.
It's guaranteed money. But I
Yeah.
don't know, just not having something to do something really. You're just there.
Well, he's in front
It's
of the
just
camera. At least that's the only thing I can think of the positive, because there's others in catering, like we mentioned, Andrade and
yeah.
Shinsuke playing with the pinball machine. They're not on camera. At least he's relevant in a way. Maybe not top guy spot like we thought. And they're not doing the demon
maybe
stuff anymore.
I wish he was doing the demon stuff. Maybe they'll do something once they actually completely dissolve Judgment Day, because it makes no sense for that to exist anymore.
Well, they buried the
either.
demon once they had Finn Balor lose to the ropes against Roman Reigns. You'll remember,
But he got
was
tired of doing it because he said it takes so long they always have to find an artist, because it's not like they have someone on staff. So they have to find somebody that can do body art. And then when they come in, they have to do the stencil and all. He said it's hours, and he just does it. It takes too long. He's just tired of doing that. So unless they changed it up and they put a suit on him, or a shirt or something, and then just paint the face.
Ugh.
Yeah, that probably wouldn't look good.
Can you think of some other gimmick or something? Because it's just not working. I don't feel it's working. He's just there.
Speaking of that,
but maybe when they dissolve, they're gonna get rid of Judgment Day. So maybe he'll have something.
Who do you think this is?
Teddy Long.
This is not Teddy Long. So this is, and for those that listen and not seeing this is
Andrade.
This is Andrade with the mask and everything. This is from AEW. This is what he needs to be doing now. He needs this gimmick where he comes out with a suit. He's like an evil boss, has a mask, a black mask on, and he takes it off when it's time for fighting, but then he puts it on. This is it. He needs a new gimmick. I'm just thinking, because you got me thinking about people in catering, and I have him over here on my desk.
And by the way, since you mentioned catering, let's hope that Aleister Black does not end up in catering.
Never.
Never.
Remember that gimmick that they had where he was kind of locked up in a room and just kind of like angrily waiting for someone to open the door? And they did that for like 4 months.
They can go back to that when he comes back. They could say they finally opened up the door. There you go. I hope he comes back as Aleister Black and not as that other professor gimmick that they were coming out with. Remember? What was that? Where he was reciting things and it's like had his glasses on. I'm like, what is this? What are we doing? And then he disappeared. I want the Aleister Black. I want the rising up, with the candles and all that stuff. I want that gimmick back. Hopefully Friday.
We will see with that. So kind of moving on from that, we have Randy Orton versus the man you gotta believe in. Say his name, what is it, 3 times, and he appears.
Like the
Joe
ring.
Hendry.
No.
Like the ring. Adam seems really disappointed. Ricky is crying. Richard is just completely silent.
We didn't want
this. So none of you like it.
Well, let me. Well, actually, I was okay with the surprise. It wasn't who I thought we were going to see, so I was like, and obviously, whoever it was going to be, they were going to have to lose to Orton. We knew that much. I would like to know and see what they have for Joe Hendry in the future. I did see, because I didn't watch NXT tonight, but I was reading online. He actually showed up on NXT to, I guess, tease some type of match with Obafemi, which we know Obafemi is going to destroy him. So that should be interesting. But hey, so he got paid. He made his WrestleMania appearance, and according to Triple H, he's going to be making a lot more WrestleMania appearances. So get used to seeing him, I guess.
I'm just not sold on him. I just don't see it. Like I hear the song, and they said it was a big deal somewhere. But it didn't do it for me. And the crowd loves him. It's another situation where, not my generation. Because I don't see the big deal. And then he loses. Okay, well, we knew he was going to lose. I don't know if that really hurts them as much because he is their champ. But who's watching TNA these days? I don't know. So I don't think it really made that big a deal. But I was bummed out because I wanted somebody else. I wanted who were we rooting for? We were hoping it was Rusev. Then we were hoping there was somebody else, not Black. There was somebody else that we were thinking about.
Well,
But
Jeff
Nick
Cobb.
Aldis, Nick
yeah,
Aldis,
Jeff
maybe?
Cobb. That would have been cool.
Nick Aldis, you said.
Nick Aldis. Yeah, that was one of the ideas, right? That he would come out and be like, you know what, I'm gonna kick you or whatever. But then there was online. It was a Ringside, I think, that mentioned it, and apparently that it was Jeff Hardy or someone that was in the back. That was one of the plans, and then they scrapped that idea. So I don't know. It would have been. It didn't do it for me. I saw this and I was like, well, time to go get something to eat. Okay, because I already know he's not going to win. There's no way.
But that was the whole point. That was the perfect thing that could have ever happened to Joe. And he got his name out there. He had his WrestleMania moment. Randy Orton, even though he won, put him over. That whole the whole editing of that whole sequence, when he did that whole toss head thing that he does with the Joe Hendry, and then Randy coming up and doing that RKO. That's his moment. I mean, we talk about what happened between Seth and Randy all the time when it came to, now that was the most perfect RKO I've ever seen. But he had his moment where he shined as well. So there really wasn't anyone losing with this. Now everyone, knows who he is. They know that stupid theme song. They knew that moment of him having the pause.
What happened to the woman from TNA that they signed? What happened to her? Remember her? She jumped into the Rumble and
Tessa? Jordan Grace?
Jordan Grace. Yeah, what happened to her?
She's in NXT.
They should have had her involved in all this stuff too. I don't know. All right, so she's in NXT.
Maybe she'll be Bianca's. Well, remember where she was teased to be with go doing a match with Jade. It was back in I think last Royal Rumble, where it was Jade and Bianca and Rhea. It was basically the big women, the muscle women in there. So they could do something.
Rodriguez is another big one. She's big.
Mm-hmm. So they can have her do something. So yeah, I think it was good for him. Ricky?
Yeah, I was expecting Rusev, but I actually think this was better to have Joe Hendry there.
What about Dolph Ziggler? He's in TNA. They could have had him. That would have been funny.
We've seen that already. I'm sorry, we've seen that already. That'd be like, well, you're gonna.
I think his brother ruined that.
Matt Cardona come out next.
Oh, I would have liked that. Woo woo woo. He said he'll never do that again. He will never.
No more Zack Ryder for him.
Oh, he said no more. Apparently that's what's holding him back. At least that's what he said. Because he remember at first he was like, oh no, his wife is there. And he's like, nah, I'm doing everything good on India. I'm fine. And then they keep asking him, and he says unless I can bring who I am now, I don't want to go over there. And he hasn't gone. So I think they don't want that. They want Zack Ryder.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what everyone remembers from before.
Yeah.
But as far as Hendry, like all the spots, him doing his pose and Orton, RKOing him, just like, absolute cinema. I thought it was great, and then you could tell that Orton was having fun, because he did the pose himself afterwards, and that for a match that's just kind of thrown together last minute, it did its job. It put over Hendry and the defeat. Orton got to have his match. He had fun. The fans had fun, and it didn't take long. So I thought
4 minutes. 4 minutes.
Yeah, if even
you could squeeze in a bunch of matches in 4 minutes. They should have thrown in a bunch of people in the back. Who wants to be in a match? Remember that Royal Rumble? Even I Show Speed, the guy who's not even a wrestler, got his few minutes in. So.
Yeah, and he got killed by Bron Breakker.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. But it felt like the next match that we talk about after this, it seems like that ate up a lot of the time that was meant for Orton versus Kevin Owens. That's just my theory on that. But yeah, I know I was okay with what they did with Orton and Hendry. I thought that was a nice surprise.
It was decent. It was very decent. So then kind of moving on, Logan Paul and AJ Styles, the match of the century. I see Richard over there laughing.
Well,
match of the century.
say it, Rich.
Match
You
of
got.
the
I'm gonna
century.
ask you that lion salt that he pulls off is like amazing. It reminds me of the way Jericho used to do it, how he would go across the ring like that. So good.
Oh yeah. So let me say this. Logan Paul is obviously. I think you said this earlier on the broadcast, Adam. Obviously, they very much are behind Logan Paul. The way that WWE is run now and how it pushes it's the influencers, the social media, the generation. I definitely think that Logan Paul is going to be a champion. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it will happen because it feels as though they want to head in that direction. I thought the match was all right. I personally thought the storyline they were telling with Karrion Kross was better, and I personally think, I don't know, I think they could have made this a triple threat and threw him into this, because that would have been a little bit more interesting. Because again, we knew AJ Styles wasn't going to cheat to win. We knew that already. And then on Raw, again, AJ Styles gets confronted by him again. I would have thought that would have led to a match. So I have no idea what the hell they're doing with Karrion Kross. But Logan Paul winning, I guess it made sense. And Triple H, as he said in his press conference, he is very much behind Logan Paul. So do not be surprised if this guy eventually gets some type of title.
Well, him and AJ are in the same boat. They had a faction, and both of the factions got let go. So now they just two guys just roaming around, and that's why it made sense when Cross was like, "Yeah, cheat, do it." It's like, come on now, let's go back to our old ways. And then on Raw, with AJ's like, "No, I can't be that guy I was last year." And it's like, why not? It's not working for you being this good guy. But, oh well, it was good. It was a good match. I'm very impressed with Logan Paul. I don't even see him as an influencer or any of that type of stuff, because he's proved himself in that ring, man. He's pulling off stuff that people that are seasoned veterans can't even do. So I with no fear, like you won't see the hesitation or anything like that. He just does it, like the way he does his buckshot. He does it better than what's his name in AEW.
Tampa. The Young Bucks.
No, not the Young Buck. The other dude. Is it also Adam? No, what's his name?
Hangman.
Adam. Yeah, Hangman Page. He does it better than Hangman Page.
Yeah.
Hangman Page does that buckshot.
Yeah.
So he's just picked up.
He's a flashy. I still don't like Logan Paul, but I will admit he gives a good presentation. He's a good cover of, like, he's not a wrestler, but he gives a good presentation. But overall, I really thought that it would have been better than what it was, because AJ Styles can kind of work with any style. But it was decent. It wasn't something that stood out to me. I don't really, it's not really memorable. So for me, it was like, hey, okay, hurry up now and be over with. What about you, Ricardo?
See, again, not a fan of Logan Paul personally, but can't deny his athletic ability, and that for a celebrity or whatever, he does a pretty decent job, maybe better than decent, I would say, in the ring. Like, it shows that he puts in the work there, and he does a good job playing the role of a heel, and that could be go away heat and what have you, but he knows how to play the role of a wrestler, and it looks natural to him. And so, like, I keep going back to Karrion Kross. He mentioned Logan Paul, like how, like, oh look, he took a shortcut to get here. Maybe if I started up a YouTube page, I would get these opportunities instead of making all the sacrifices that I did. And, like,
Probably would.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. Like, and I mean, we see it all the time where social media influencers will get opportunities that people in the industry and the profession get overlooked at, because you don't draw enough. You don't draw enough. We'll say, you know what I mean. And so like with Logan Paul, he is, he definitely appeals to the Zoomers, that crowd, and but it's not like he can't go in the ring. He can, and AJ Styles is as good a dance partner as you can ask for in that situation. My gripe that I've said all along, I just felt that match was too long. It was almost 18 minutes, and there was a lot of times where I thought that match could have ended. If they did it for like 9 or 10 minutes, it would still go great. There were just so many like near falls and stuff, and that might have been because the Orton Owens match was cut short, so they had to take some time from somewhere, and that's what they opted to do.
Yeah, but they should have gave Joe Henry. I mean, if you're gonna put Joe Henry in that spot, he can go, he can work. He's not a nobody. They were like, hey, you want to put on, get your stuff out, but you're still gonna lose, but you can get your stuff in. It'll be a good match. That way, it makes them look strong. It's like, oh wow, that's their TNA champ. Okay, because I don't know. I don't even know what his finisher is. I don't know anything about this dude besides the song.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you look at it now, especially like which we'll get into with Orton seeming to be the next in line to face Cena, you got to have Orton. It's like, yeah, yes, Joe Henry's TNA champion, but he's going against future Hall of Famer Randy Orton, one of the greatest of all time. There's no shame in getting beaten 3 minutes.
That would have been cool if the belt was on the line. If the
TNA
belt was
belt?
on the yeah. And then Randy would have won that, and then they
I
could
don't know
announce
about
that
that.
he's 2 behind Cena. And then if he wins another belt, and then but that would have been cool because then he would have been TNA champ, and then he can go on some TNA shows and stuff. That would have been a nice one.
Well, maybe down the road. I don't think that was the time to do that, but yeah, Logan Paul Styles, good match, just went too long. That's my thoughts on that.
But you know what? You just gave me an idea. You said you got to be an influencer. You can skip the line. Rich, it's our time. It's our time. Let's build up these numbers. Let's get these numbers up. Everybody like and subscribe. Build our numbers if you want to see Rich and I in WWE. Build
that'd be
numbers.
a lot of fun.
That's it. We can do it because that's it. If that's all it takes, and we at least get into the performance center and stuff like that, then I say we go for it. We got nothing to lose but some pain. I mean,
I don't know. I got to work on my moonsault, man. It's been a while.
I think I could do a swanton. I could pull off. I could fall forward. I could definitely fall forward. I could do that.
We shall see. We will work our connections and get into the WWE Performance Center. So then, I guess, did you speak about this, Richard? Did you say something?
Oh, you're cutting out. Dana's cutting out. You're cutting out.
I'm cutting out.
Audio was
it's like little digital,
Yeah, the audio's cutting in and out.
Yep.
It's I don't know, might be a
little bit. It's kind of lagging. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, I already spoke on this match, and Logan Paul, I'm okay with him winning, but I am curious to see what happens with AJ Styles. Obviously his contract is up soon. I don't know what's going on with that situation. Karrion Kross's contract is also up later this year, so I'm very curious to know what happens with both of those wrestlers. But I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I think Kross is going to stick around for a while because, he did that promo and that stuff online, but that shows initiative. That shows determination. They like that, especially Triple H. He likes people that are go-getters that try to get things like this. He's not going to ding them for it. He's going to see it and like, we use this. You're pushing your own narrative, and that's continuing the character that he's portraying on the program, that he's trying to bring these images out of bring the villainy back into being a heel and all that. So I think it's going to come out if he does switch over to Killer Kross, and this will be the feud with him and AJ Styles. I think that's what they're building toward.
Yeah.
But remember, why is he here? He's here. Well, real quick. Sorry, he's here because of Triple H. Remember that was Triple H brought him over from TNA to NXT.
Yeah.
Did that whole thing because he saw him as a remember, gave him like an awesome run, right? He beat everybody, Finn Balor and Samoa Joe. I mean, he was destroying everybody with that final blow that he does behind the head. Huge push, and then just to get called up and look like an extra from Gladiator, with the mask. What are you doing? Right?
Yeah, by courtesy of Vince McMahon. So there you go.
He just squashed all that. It's like, yo, we already established he had this really cool intro, his wife lip singing and doing all this stuff with the laser light show. Really it was too long, but still it was cool.
Maybe you remember this. Who beat him in his debut match? I was trying to think about who that was again. I have to look it up. I don't know if you know off the top of your head. But he lost his debut match on Raw. People were talking about it online. They're like, "What the hell are they doing with Karrion Kross?" So
I don't know. It's really shocking. I'm telling you, when he first up and they were doing that in the main roster, I was really surprised. I'm like, everything that he represents looks like it screamed Vince would love him. He's big.
Yeah.
He's strong looking. And it's like he has a presence. And that's what Vince likes all of that. It's no different than Batista, any of the other big dudes. So what's the problem? For some reason, Vince didn't see it.
Jeff Hardy. He lost.
There it is.
Yeah.
Jeff Hardy. Yep. There you go. Yeah. Okay.
I'm rooting for him. One of these gimmicks has to work. Go for it. Oh, you digital. Go for it. Oh, it's real bad now. Maybe back out and come back in. Let it restart.
Yeah. Sure. Wait, so the next match was the tag match, right? The women's tag match?
The women's tag match?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, yeah. So all I have to say about that match is I'm going to go to what we said earlier. I don't really think it was a good idea to take Bayley out of that match and have Becky in it. I know why they did it. Obviously, they wanted to get a pop from the crowd. But Liv Morgan, I expected her to be in WrestleMania because again, she put in a lot of work for the company. She had a phenomenal run the entire year. From the minute that she got that belt from Rhea Ripley, they put a lot of focus on her. So I knew she was going to get a WrestleMania match. I just didn't expect it to be this match, and I definitely wasn't expecting them to lose the match. But they won it back last night, so it is what it is. But yeah, I would have preferred to just see Lyra have a title defense instead of this match. Because Lyra is the Intercontinental Champion, right? So you mean to tell me you can't give her an opponent at WrestleMania? But no, they said we're not going to do that.
Who's the runner-up? Who's the number one contender for that belt?
I don't think they've established that because what they were doing on Raw prior to that is they were giving her matches one-on-one against different people. And then I believe the last match was against Bayley. Even that would have been a better match to have at WrestleMania instead of Raw, but they said, no, we're not going to do that. And then they decided to have her and Bayley team up for this match. And then, of course, that changed. So I don't know. I wasn't a fan of that. Obviously, I think they really, really like Lyra to make her a double champ, even if it wasn't for a short period of time, clearly, because I'm thinking someone else could have won that instead. But it is what it is. Yeah.
No. I think it was all just for getting heat on Becky. That's what I'm assuming. They're gonna have her eventually. Now that she attacked Lyra doing the whole thing, it was like, "Oh, you got pinned. You cost us the title. That's why she did it. She kicked her ass. She was pissed off about it." And then I'm sure next week they'll talk to her. Why'd you do that? It's like, why'd I do that? Because she's weak. I thought she had what it takes. She doesn't. Just like Bayley's weak. She didn't have what it takes. So I kicked her ass too. It makes sense now because her husband's a heel. And if anything, maybe they'll partner up and they'll be the heel couple. So that's all.
Well, I mean, hopefully that pairing will go better than it did. Was it 6 years ago when they had them both as face and Seth was in the middle of a pretty bad World Heavyweight Championship run, that culminated with that embarrassing Hell in a Cell match with the Fiend and everything. But
Man,
that was just a train wreck. But yeah, they could have done that so much better, so much different as far as like bringing Becky back. Like you could have had Bayley in the match with Lyra, and they could have lost, have Liv and Raquel retain, and then have Liv and Raquel try to like beat them up more after the match, and have Becky come out and think that she's going to come for the save, but she actually just joins in and beats up Bayley and Lyra, and that's her heel turn. Like you get your pop, and then you get your oh my god moment like right then and there. That's there's other ways they could have done it. Like I mean, the whole, you mentioned the whole 2-belt thing. Could have had Becky be jealous of Lyra being a 2-belt thing and have her cost her the match, whether it was at Mania or at Raw. Have her, cost her the match. You'd be like, no, I'm the only 2-belt around here. And then you have Stephanie Vakir come out and be like, you said something, like there was so much potential they could have done with this heel turn. I just felt like it was kind of like a wasted opportunity, and like it came at Bayley's expense, and Bayley deserved a lot better than that for all the work that she put in.
All right, Dana, say something. Let's hear it. Uh-oh. Is she muted?
Muted.
Yeah, I think she's adjusting.
Oh, maybe she's adjusting to the settings. All right, well, it's music. But yeah, I mean,
sorry, I'm muted.
Okay.
Did it work? Okay. Yes. So it was okay. It wasn't. I didn't. Becky was the big surprise of it all. I don't think that they should have won belts. I think that's one of the big problems the WWE has is when someone comes back, they're automatically given a belt. This could have been perfectly fine without her winning the belt. Obviously, we all know that it was originally going to be Bayley. It should have just stayed as Bayley, and that was it. Really, it was okay.
Gotcha. No, that sounds good. So I guess the final match, right?
This is it.
The
match, big one.
Yeah, the match that and again, this is the match that I know that everybody on here thought this was the most amazing WrestleMania match of all time, right?
I sent Peacock an extra month's payment because I was so happy with this match. I was like, I'm paying an insufficient amount, and I had to send them more money because I was like, thank you for blessing my eyes, blessing my soul with this amazing match with Cody and the one and only John, Massachusetts' own Cena.
There you go. Newbury, Massachusetts. And yeah, he should say Newbury. Don't say Boston because
he's not from Boston. He's
West
from
Newbury.
West. No, there you go. Yeah, there it is.
Oh, West Side. Didn't he grow up on a farm or a ranch or something like that? Like some farmland out in the countryside?
Yeah. Okay. So my quick thoughts on this match. I made the comment earlier that if I could book this show, I would have put the Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk triple threat match on this night instead of the John Cena and Cody Rhodes match. Because personally, I thought up until this point, night 2 was pretty good until I saw that main event. And then I was like, nah, man, this is... Now, first and foremost, we can all agree, I believe, John Cena was going to win it, that he needed to win this because there were too many other storylines you could have with Cena as champion. Obviously, Randy Orton against John Cena. Yes, that's going to happen because Backlash is in Randy Orton's hometown. So that makes perfect sense, okay? But I just think the way they handled it, I wasn't a fan of that. And this sort of ties into the fact that... The Rock had an interview earlier today with Pat McAfee where he basically said that whole storyline about Cody's soul, they didn't really have any plan for that. He made mention that when he came to Elimination Chamber, they asked him to do that because the ticket sales were low. So he came up with this idea, and Cody was supposed to turn heel, all this other stuff. And of course, what ends up happening is The Rock decides to stay home, says, Cody, this is about Cody and John. So I'm going to let them have their WrestleMania match and their WrestleMania moment. That's fine. Only one problem. Why the hell is Travis Scott highlighted so heavily in this match? They gave him time for his entrance music to come down to the ring and then get involved. And one comment that I do want to make, because obviously, we knew Cody was going to get his receipt. He did his finisher on him. I would have preferred if Cody just knocked him out, socked him the same way he did, the same way Travis Scott did him when he punched him in the face. That I felt would have been better than seeing him do the finisher, because it needed to be believable that he was going to really hurt this guy. So, but overall, I'm glad that Cena won. I just do not like the way this match played out, because Travis Scott had such a major role in it. That's my opinion, though.
The whole ending was garbage. The way that, once Travis Scott, like you said, was coming down to hit the music, the match stopped. They just stopped. It's like Cody's on the ground, and then just seeing they keep zooming in, seeing his face, and he's like, all happy. I was like, all right, come on, just keep wrestling. What does it matter? What is this musician producer going to do to help you win? He's not a professional wrestler. He doesn't know what he's doing. So why do you make it seem like he's the Rock coming down? Like this is, and that's the way he was looking at him. Cena was looking at him. But still, that was dumb. Yeah, fine. He gets the crossroads. He's out. But like I said earlier, he didn't even know how to roll out of the ring. He needed help to get kicked out of that. And the worst ending possible with the whole belt situation. Cena goes to hit him. Cody grabs it. They struggle for the belt. Cody takes the belt. Cena does the cowardly Ric Flair, like, no, don't do it. And everyone sees Cody's looking at everybody. Very old school 1980s, like, should I not? Should I? And then he makes the weirdest gesture, like, oh, well, no, and he goes to put it down, and he gets kicked in the gonoids. And then the belt drops. He picks up the belt, Cena does, and then hits him. And that's how this shit ends. Come on now. That was an epic fail. I did not like that. Ricky, you like that?
Yes, he did.
I mean, I got a lot I need to say about that. Well, hold on.
Oh, the Fiend's playing. He's coming. Where is he? Coming.
We're waiting for him to make his way. Still waiting. Still waiting. No. That was completely not necessary. Like I don't know, man. I didn't have a problem with Cena, cheating to win the match. I expected it to happen. But it wasn't Travis Scott that I was, kind of hoping that was going to show up. I was waiting for The Rock, because he's the guy that started this shit by, being with this whole like, I want you to be my champion. I want your soul and all this stuff. And then for Rock to not show up, like the thing for me was like I didn't expect the match to conclude until we saw Rock appear. So when Cena got the 1, 2, 3, I'm like, huh? I thought that's it. Like, where's Rock?
See, the bar was set too high in the last WrestleMania for that, with all the run-ins and Undertaker showing up and all that craziness. The bar is so high, and I don't know if it was Triple H or anyone that just felt, well, hey, this rapper guy can get the same reaction. No, Travis Scott, I don't put him anywhere near that level. So I don't know what they were thinking. They're like, oh, this place is going to go nuts when he comes out. They can't wait to see him come out. To do what? He's not a wrestler. He's not a performer yet. It was an epic fail. And yeah, like you, I figured Cena was gonna cheat to win, but the way they did it, and then the ref being knocked down for so long, come on now, and only come up. I hate when they do that dumb stuff. There's plenty of other ways they could have played it out to make this work, and they didn't.
I want to ask a question to you, to all of you. Now, if The Rock was not there, obviously he wasn't there. What if they had his music playing? Would you have been satisfied with that as a distraction? Cody turns around, oh, he's here, and then turns around and gets an attitude adjustment. Would you have been fine with that?
That would have been good. That's something that you got that idea from the game, because you could say, look at you stealing the video game ideas. It's in the game.
When the game has better ideas than the actual company.
Exactly. Yeah. Play the music.
There you go.
Well, Travis Scott, it took the air out of the building. It's like okay, you kind of expected him to appear, but for him to take 10 minutes to get to the fucking ring, and then okay, he's out there, but where's Rock? And why can't they have Stone Cold and Rock at the same WrestleMania at the same time? They couldn't get Stone Cold last year, so they had to have Undertaker in that spot where he, hit Rock during that. It was very overbooked ending, entertaining but overbooked. Cody versus Roman. This year, you have Austin there.
I almost forgot. Yeah, they just because you brought it up, and remember we talking about how long that other match was. They could have just. They had the whole Austin thing with the ATV. They could have cut that out and put another match in. That's another one that took too long. So
and they could have avoided a lawsuit on top of that.
Yeah.
But just it did, Rock inserting himself in this thing for what, for ticket sales for Elimination Chamber, and then not getting involved whatsoever on WrestleMania is unacceptable. They should have at least had a video package of him talking from wherever he's at. Could have been a distraction. Just have it he's done it before. Was too busy doing what the fuck else. But to have him record a message, and it could be a distraction or whatever, and that way he has an involvement. It's not the same as having him there in person, but at least something. At least something. So it's thank goodness they had Cena win, have him get the 17th thing. It would have been a complete and utter waste if he didn't win it. You would have turned him heel for nothing. If he didn't win that. So I'm glad they pulled the trigger on that. But it was just executed so poorly. Dear goodness, what a train wreck.
That's not what we wanted. This is not. And it keeps bothering me. That song is called Fiend, and then where's the Wyatt Six? Dana.
Oh, you can hear me? Okay. So for me, this entire situation was a disaster. And I really wish, I don't understand the point of The Rock even telling us this. Because if you look at it, it's really like a Marvel situation where we read too much into a series and then it just doesn't pan out and then we get disappointed. It's like the Mephisto situation. They never promised us Mephisto. We assumed, and then we were disappointed when it didn't happen. The thing with this is I felt that this was so poorly executed that I can't even say it's something that we read too deeply into, because of the Rock's own words reassuring us that we as fans were on the right track. Oh, this was years in the making. And remember when they was fighting against the truck and The Rock was right there and he had 3. And remember we were going about the 3 signals. Oh, that's what that meant. And we're trying to connect the dots. And so he's kind of feeding into that. Don't worry. It's been a plan. So my thing is, I think that they really need to kind of streamline what The Rock is allowed to say to press. I don't understand the point of him even admitting there is no plan. You are supposed to be the head of the TKO board, so I'm pretty sure that in the midst of, we need to sell some tickets, we could at least plan something, at least into the middle of the year. Now, when he said all this whole thing was for nothing, and now it just seems like it suddenly dropped. So even if you forget the whole, Cody Rhodes soul situation, John Cena being a heel doesn't really make any sense now. And if you really look at it, he hasn't done anything that would qualify as a heel. He said, I'm determined to win. I'm going to win because I'm desperate. And his move in Elimination Chamber, you can even make the argument with him choking out CM Punk. What did he say before? I'm sorry. So that's not a heel move. That was more of an act of desperation for me. So this entire thing, this John Cena run, has been just sad. One thing that I did like, that I will point out, and it goes all the way back to Bray Wyatt. Remember during the Firefly Funhouse match that they had? That really, this makes no sense. But it did make sense because he talked about when John Cena does go heel, he would be dressed in black and white. And remember how we saw John Cena being presented at WrestleMania? There's no music, no nothing. He came out, the whole stage was in black and white. And he was wearing black and white. So that's the only thing that I like that happened with this entire match situation. Travis Scott, as I stated before, and Ricky knows this 15,000 times. I keep confusing him with ASAP Rocky. But either way, there was really no point of him being there at all. I thought that it was completely just ridiculous because you're having someone who's not even a wrestler, that no one is even thinking about, come in, even if it was, I don't know, as you stated before, the Wyatt Six. Bo Dallas could have came out and did something, because then again, you have more history with, because that's his brother with Bray taking over that mantle, as opposed to some random Travis Scott dude who just happened to be in town because, I don't know, Coachella or something. Maybe Nevada is. No, they're Las Vegas is close to California. They're both desert. I don't know how geography works. But it was just stupid. The whole thing was stupid. And now, because of his inability to shut up, his inability to not have an ego and everything about me, he's completely ruined this whole thing. So even if I'm going in the mindset of thinking like, this is a plan, and don't worry, I could have made the argument, well, The Rock didn't need to really be there because Cody is fighting against John Cena, who has no soul. So once you already captured John Cena's soul, there's no need for him to come back because you already completed the mission. I don't know, some BS that I could have just randomly made up to justify this. But there's literally no plan. He stated himself, he was at home watching this entire thing go down with his family. And it is so frustrating. I keep telling people, I don't know what Dwayne Johnson has on both the WWE brand, maybe Ari or someone, Nick Khan, because there's literally no reason for him to be on the TKO board at all. I don't know if he was like, he got takes on.
He's a name. That's it. He's a big Hollywood name. He's a big Hollywood star. You know,
Ariel's a big Black Adam fan.
Yeah, Black Adam. That's a butter movie. Everybody has it. Everybody loves it. Stream it at least once a month just to give it good numbers. You know, it's like they love him. Hollywood loves him. Moana too. My kids did not like it, but apparently it made
Hollywood
bucks.
doesn't love him anymore. Remember, Hollywood is falling out of love with him, and that's why he did the Smashing Machine. To be a number that's supposed to be a serious drama now. He's like, I want to get back into acting. I want to be a real actor. No one views him as somebody seriously. He can make a cute little red one, and that's for the kids. That was atrocious. His entire thing, ever since Black Adam, he's fighting for his reputation back. Moana 2 was horrible. And that was also partly Disney's fault because they, instead of making it into a series as promised, that ended up being a movie. This whole situation with the Fast and Furious, that and him groveling back to Vin Diesel and everybody at the Emmys kind of laughed at him. It was just a mess. This entire thing has been a complete mess. And I think that he is someone, the only reason why I feel that he's on the TKO board is because his Hollywood career was falling. And you had that damning report that came out, I think it was Variety, maybe The Wrap, where he's like, oh, he's peeing in bottles and he's holding up production. Remember, Red Dawn was supposed to release like a year earlier, but they couldn't because he was enjoying, allegedly. That was the whole thing. His reputation is damaged. And now when you come in here and you think he's going to do something for wrestling, he's just winging it. And I honestly feel sad for Triple H, who genuinely seems like he is trying this, to actually make this company better than it was before. And yes, he talked about the legacy of his father-in-law, but it just seemed like he had the ability to really make this into something. And then here comes The Rock, steamrolling. And you can also argue that as Nick Khan. Because of Elimination Chamber tickets were low, you're going to make this entire storyline fine. That's the point of wrestling, the point of creativity. Make up something but never follow through and just say at the very end after people were cheering for you. It was fake. We just made this whole thing. This was months in advance. Now, we did this yesterday. That loses for me. That loses the trust of the fans. And anytime I see The Rock, I just see someone who's going to just ruin things again. If he would have never implemented himself in this entire storyline, it would have worked fine. There was no reason for him to even say, I have your soul. He even said, I made it up on the fly. So for me, there's no justification that can make me be on the side of The Rock at all. And I think he ruined this entire run. I think his run with John Cena being a heel is horrible. It's the worst thing ever. And what makes it even worse is that there's an interview that he did with Chris Van Vliet where he stated word for word, beat for beat, every single thing that he would do once he turned heel, from the music change to the different outfits, to how he would come out, his presentation, to the matches that he wanted. And he's not getting that. And to me, in all honesty, it seems like his soul is not even in this. It seems like, well, I committed to this. I love WWE. I'm a corporate boy. So let me just go along with it. And the whole thing has just been soulless. And I want this to end. And that's it. The end of the rant. This is horrible. Get rid of.
The best was on Monday when he came out and he tried to attack the crowd. You guys are dumb and all this stuff, and you didn't even say you don't even appreciate me. And then all of a sudden they said, "We are sorry," or something. They were like, "Sorry," they were going along with it. They're like, "Okay, you're right. We're sorry. We'll accept," and he's like, "No, it's too late. You can't say," but he wanted to crack up because that was unexpected. When did the crowd ever I would say, you know what, you're right. We're sorry. We messed up. We believe in you now. Oh man, that was comedy right there.
Yeah.
But,
that was great because the storyline sucks. So we can sit here and apologize. Maybe we can end this. You go back to being a face. And that's it. And then you're chasing a record that, just randomly made up because Ric Flair didn't win all of them 17 different times. That's a whole magic.
Oh, he
that's
came
the same
right.
equivalent as we had.
I think he came up with that number, right? Ric Flair made up that number. I don't think there's any proof. We can't track that.
He came up with the number. You chase the record that doesn't even exist. Yeah. For something that no one really seems to care about, and you're going heel and it's not even executed properly. So the whole thing has just been horrible. I feel sad for him. I feel sad for Triple H, who I'm pretty sure actually had a plan until Nick Khan probably did some kind of sneaky thing, was like, in the corner, "Hey, Dwayne, we need you. Tell Triple H, we need you."
So did you guys understand what Cena was saying about, I don't have to wrestle, so I'm going to just leave and just make appearances, and I'm going to keep this? So what is he trying to say, that he is going to retire with the belt? Was that what we...
The belt.
Yeah.
That's what he was saying, right? That he plans on just retiring and taking the belt with him, and they'll have to make a new belt and do the whole thing. But he will be. That would be it.
Yeah, that's not happening.
No, that's not happening.
I don't know.
And then
That's cute.
yeah, no, that's not happening.
Yeah, no, it's probably just gonna be like, he'll be back to being part-time. He'll still have his appearances, but he's not gonna defend the belt on most of the nights or whatever. But I would still expect him to defend it at like SummerSlam, maybe Money in the Bank.
What, 37 appearances? That's what he said, something like that.
He's down to like 27 or 26.
27. See, and he said, yeah, appearances. He said, not wrestling.
Appearances.
Not matches. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Yeah.
The clock.
So
The clock.
he might have
a little.
at most 2 matches, with the belt. One that he successfully defends, and one that he drops it. And then, I think that his last appearance is supposed to be in Boston in December, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Do you think, Ricky, it's going to be full circle and the person that beats him is going to be Cody? Because that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, he's going to go through the gauntlet, fight all the big names or whatever, to get big money, and then Cody's going to get his rematch, and that's when he loses and Cody gets it back.
It could be something like that, or it could be a cash-in. It could be that a heel wins the Money in the Bank briefcase and cashes in on him, and Cena sees the errors of his ways, and goes out as babyface, whatever.
Like, he has to.
He's going to go out a babyface for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just a matter of like when is he going to lose that belt before that happens? Is it going to be that same night? It's probably going to be before that, but. We'll see.
We'll see.
Let's go, Cena.
So, I do want to make one final
Cena
comment.
Sucks.
As the bookend to what Dana said, I understand your complaints about the final boss, and this is exactly why I am stepping in as the real final boss, because clearly WWE needs somebody to really actually commit to the material. Don't come up with the idea and do nothing in return. So I'll take over.
That I can't believe he just openly. Maybe he feels no one listens to Pat McAfee's show, so he's like, I can do whatever I want here. Nobody's listening to this crap.
Yeah,
I mean, I've never heard it. I don't even know what the show's about. I when I first heard he had a show. This was during Adam Cole when he did that blow up, when they said, oh, he's going to Pat McAfee. I'm like, oh, I guess they're going to talk about football, because that's all I knew about him, that he was like a kicker for the Colts. And I figured it was a sport football show. So I didn't know that it was a variety show. Just like I didn't know any of the jabronis of his crew that joined the 2K24 game. I never played with any of them.
Complete garbage. 2K. I will never forgive them for adding them to the game. So I hope they do watch this.
Well, apparently a lot of people haven't forgiven them because they're not doing great with the sales of this one, which is why they're pushing it so hard.
Yeah,
they need to fix that island.
I agree. I think we're probably going to get ready to wrap up.
Yeah.
Because I know we said a lot about WrestleMania. This is a very good discussion. And I'm pretty sure there'll be some future discussions depending on what happens in WWE. If there is something interesting, we have to see what happens with Aleister Black on Friday. I know if that's not good, Adam probably is going to have a lot of complaints. So a lot of complaints. A lot. Yeah, I look forward to seeing.
I want him to have an instant title shot. Like I want the fast track system that they put on some of the other guys that get, like you said before, Logan Paul, and all. I want this for Black. I want him to come out and just destroy everyone and become one of the longest running champions of all the belts. And that's my plan. That's what I want. I don't want, and I'm scared. I'm only scared because I don't want him, like you said, to get lost in the shuffle. Or when I first saw him, and we've said it when we first debuted, and he started coming out, and he wasn't talking, and he had the dark. I was like, "This is the modern version Undertaker." This is it. This is what we need. He's got the dark gimmick. He doesn't talk. He just kicks ass. This is great. But then they gave him a mic. They started putting him in a suit. And I was like, you're screwing it. You're screwing it. And then it's gone.
They already ruined it. Like, you know, like how he do his thing where he kind of goes up. Vince added the crank sound. So it was like just being cranked instead of just levitating up. It was supposed to be like he was levitating up. But the crank sound.
The version, what he was able to pull off with the House of Black and AEW, I'd like to see some of that in WWE with WWE's production, and I think it would work. And I think he can be the modern version of the Undertaker. Keep that dark gimmick, keep that thing going, and it'd be believable. You know, I would love if he still had the black eye. If he brings that, because remember that black eye he brought with him to AEW, but that happened in WWE. The black eye thing, right? That was the whole thing. So if they want to continue, they could definitely do it and just run with that. And I'm sure people will be happy. And then, of course, as time goes on, Buddy Matthews will come in. That'll be great. And I just want things to work out for Aleister Black. He got a Raw deal last time. So
yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. Any final words before we wrap up? Awesome. Well,
that's it.
Thank you all for listening. We will be back in the future. Stay tuned. Consider liking, subscribing, and we'll talk to you all next time.